Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming from right here on my YouTube channel. I am, of course, your host, John Campea, and it is an awesome honor and privilege, as it is every day, to have you, our international friends, gather around as we talk about our favorite things in the world, movies, movie news, TV, streaming, all sorts of good stuff. And sitting right over here, ladies and gentlemen, writer, director, producer, Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett. Robert, how you doing?
John, they're doing my Gorn dirty in the new episode of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. Didn't appreciate it.
That's probably awesome. I haven't seen it yet. It's probably great. And of course, and sitting beside him, Chris is back, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, it's a different Chris. Our friend Chris Gore is joining us here today. Chris, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great, John. It's weird to be here because normally I would just be on the other side of the television watching you and Rob and the whole team here and Ray and Chris. So it's fun to be here. I think part of the reason you invited me is because Gore. Right, we're gonna talk about Gore today,
Chris,
right?
And Gore,
exactly. We're gonna talk about Gore, but not me, and that's a good thing, probably.
Well, it's actually kind of funny. True story. I was, of course, went to go see Thor: Love and Thunder last night, and Chris comes walking in the theater, and we start chatting. I'm like, well, wait a minute, Carr is still on vacation. We've got an empty seat. I go, Chris, when do you come out? And Chris was more than gracious enough to say yes and come on out. And we are so glad you guys have been gracious enough to come and join us here today. Here's how today's show is going to go. We're going to break it down into two parts. In the first half of the show, we're going to talk about some predetermined topics. Then in the second half of the show, we're going to take your live comments and questions. If you want to get a live comment or question, number one, you got to be watching live. Number two, when we get to the end of the main topics, we'll announce that we're opening up the super chats. And when we do, you can start sending them in. Now be ready to send those things in because we only leave them open for a couple of minutes because you guys fill them up fast. All right, guys. With all that down, let's get to an off the top here, shall we, before we get into our main topics. And our off the top is this. You know, coming out of the pandemic, well, really, we were still in it. But as the movie theaters were slowly starting to reopen, the first big movie that came out to hit the screens was Godzilla vs. Kong. Great movie? No. Movie I had a hell of a lot of fun with? Yeah, I did. I had an absolute blast watching that. Who knew that King Kong had his own Mjolnir? Never knew, now we do. Giant ape with a magical frickin' axe and hammer. Fantastic, I loved it. But in all seriousness, again, the story wasn't great. There was a huge amount of logic problems with it, a lot of flaws. But again, man, especially coming out of the pandemic, where I had just been starved to see something fun on a big screen, something bombastic, and that's what it's delivered. It certainly gave me a much better experience than Godzilla King of the Monsters, something I'm sure Rob will refute here in just a few moments. Anyway, we heard a while ago that they are doing a follow-up, and of course, because it was pretty damn successful for what it was and when it came out. And now we have a release date. This comes just from the folks over at CBR. They're writing the following. According to Variety, the giant-sized second film in the MonsterVerse Versus movies is set to premiere on March 15th, 2024, nearly 3 years exactly since the first film was released. Few details on the project have been revealed yet, although producers plan to return to Queensland for filming. The project also recently attached Legion star Dan Stevens, love that, in a leading role, though details about his character remain scant. I love this for a couple of reasons. Number one, I want to see this ridiculousness on the big screen again. Two, I love the addition of Dan Stevens because hopefully that means they're kind of shying away from what's Seven's real name again. What's the actress's name?
Millie Bobby Brown.
Millie Bobby Brown, who I like very
11.
much. She's 11, that's right. Who I like very much. She's a very good actress. I hate this character. I really came to loathe the character. I thought the character was the weakest part of Godzilla vs. Kong. So hearing that they're going to bring in Dan Stevens, who I like, I've even liked him in Downton Abbey, damn it. So I like seeing this. Anyway, Rob, you hear about this. It's now tangibilized a little bit more. We've got a release date. What do you think about them doing Godzilla vs. Kong 2?
Well, first of all, they're missing, if the marketing department doesn't get this, let me give you the title right now. The first one's called Godzilla vs. Kong. Hello, Kong versus Godzilla.
Brilliant.
There's your title. I mean, how come they're not calling it right now? Look at that. Look at that. I mean, enough. Let's get some American dominance here. You know what I'm saying? And I'm Team Godzilla. But if you don't call this movie Kong versus Godzilla, I don't know what you're thinking. Because, man, how cool would that be?
Didn't we hear at some point that the next one was going to focus a little bit on Kong's son? That Kong was going to have a son or something?
I guess. It's probably going to be a strange...
If they don't call him Donkey Kong Jr., that's a problem.
College. I don't know. But no, I'm excited for this because look, like you said, the first movie was deeply stupid. However, apparently there's a maglev system that goes from Florida to Hong Kong. Who built that? Don't know. But I did love the monster fights.
Oh, they were great.
The monster fights, the water monster fight over the aircraft carrier, I can watch that on repeat for a whole day. It's like one of those 10-hour, put the atmospheric sounds from Blade Runner on YouTube. I'll watch that fight for 10 hours because it's that good. And the Hong Kong fight's pretty good too. Not as good as the Hong Kong fight in Pacific Rim, but pretty damn good. And so I'm excited. I mean, any kaiju movie, I'll watch it. What you like kaiju movies?
I love kaiju movies. I was hoping though you were going to say destroy all monsters because that is to me,
that's classic too.
That's a classic. It's
but
the
there's only
penultimate.
two guys. There's two, or a guy and a girl.
Well, what we know about these are the monsters we know about, Kong and Godzilla, and it'd be interesting. I mean, they're going to bring in Godzilla's son. Do you remember? No one remembers Minya.
Minya from Godzilla's
Minya.
Revenge.
Yeah. Well,
I just think of
remember
Godzuki. So I mean, that's
There's also-
The anime.
So Gadzuki.
And Gatsuki.
some of the best music ever. Oh, what do you think about the 2024 release date? Like, I was kind of assuming that might come out a little bit earlier, considering how quickly they started talking about doing a sequel. Were you surprised to see this is going to be a 2024 thing?
I'm not surprised. I'm just surprised they weren't working on it before this. I mean, they should have had one out like next year. So I think they dropped the ball on not moving more quickly.
Speaking of which, it's not the only movie they just did some date stuff with, because they announced at the same time. Speaking of movies that should have already been in production, Dune 2 has been bumped.
What?
Now, granted, only about 5 weeks.
Right.
Only been bumped about 5, but still, speaking of movies that absolutely should have been shooting part 1 and part 2 back to back at the same time. So so let's go. Yeah, you're right. I'm kind of surprised they weren't already in production in this thing.
Yeah.
But I think the effects, the reason, I mean, obviously the effects work on these things is intensive. And I think that's why it's a 2-year period of time. I mean, it's hard. Like a Bond movie, they can get out in a year, but something like this, the effects work is extensive, and I'm sure they have to top themselves. And like you said, it could be a monster fest. But you know what? Godzilla King of the Monsters kind of was that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, but I'd love to see a new Destroy All Monsters. But what I really want is I want the aliens from Planet X back.
Oh my God!
Come on, where's the controller?
Yeah.
Bring the controller back.
Yeah. Oh my God, Rob, you're bringing back all these memories.
I mean,
those aliens were so great.
The last time we saw them was Godzilla Final Wars.
Yeah.
You know, which had the CG American Godzilla fight the man in the suit Godzilla in Sydney, Australia, and the controller says when the computer American Godzilla gets defeated, I knew that salmon
Which one was it?
iguana was worthless.
Which one was it
great.
where the giant Spider-Man teams up with Godzilla to fight the Mecha Godzilla?
That's actually Japanese
I
Spider-Man.
know, yeah.
That's a whole that's a series. They made an entire Spider-Man series in the late 70s.
Also, let's not forget,
Chris.
Parker points out that series coming out on Apple TV, the Godzilla one, I think. Is it a Godzilla series?
That's
that they're working
right.
on?
I can't remember if it was Godzilla or if it's Kong, but they're doing a series based on the MonsterVerse on Apple TV too. Still not many details on that. But anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? We have a release date now in March of 2024 for Godzilla versus Kong 2 or Kong versus Godzilla. What do you guys think about this? Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and leave those thoughts there. All right, guys. With that down, we're now going to move into our main topics here today. And how do we select our main topics here on the John Campea Show? Well, it's really rather simple. You see, you guys come up with them. Whenever you come across a big topic, issue, or story that you guys feel we need to cover as a main topic on the show, just go anytime 24/7 over to www.thejohncampeashow.com/contact. Once you guys get there, you're going to see a form. Fill it out with your topic or question. It's absolutely free. Hit submit, and then maybe, just maybe, you might see your submission featured as a main topic here on the John Campea Show. With that down, Rob, what is our first main topic today?
John, our first main topic comes to us from Sean Wren. Hey, John and the Funky Bunch. Hope this finds you well. So the year is now halfway over, and as we're heading into July, I was hoping you guys would do another monthly movie preview for what's coming out in the next few weeks. The one I'm mostly looking forward to is Thor: Love and Thunder. But can you guys walk through the July movies and tell us what you're most looking forward to? Thanks, and Bring on the filthy.
All right. Thanks a lot for saying that in, man. And yeah, I had to do, Ann and I were talking the other day, I had to do a double take when I realized that the month is just about over. I mean, I feel like we say this often, but seriously, June has flown by, like absolutely sailed by. It's crazy to think about that. But it does mean that we are heading into a brand new month, which means a whole brand new docket of movies coming out. So as we tend to do at near the beginning of every month now, we're going to run down all the big wide release films that are coming out here in the next month of July. So let's take a look at a couple of these, and then we'll tell you which ones we're looking forward to the most. All right, we're going to start off with this. Coming out on July 1st, so that's this coming weekend, we've got Minions, The Rise of Gru. This was a movie that I can't remember how long ago it was supposed to come out, but it was a while ago. This is
97.
something like that. Because I, without exaggeration, I feel like it was about 2 years ago that the first trailer dropped. So this is one they've been waiting to come. The trailers have been charming. Listen, I love everything about the Despicable Me franchise, except for Despicable Me 3. I think that's the one it was. The one where he has his twin brother. Gru gets his twin brother. Awful movie. Didn't like that one. But I like just about everything else they've done. So kind of looking forward to that. All right. Next coming up on July 1st is Mr. Malcolm's List. Okay. This has some promise to it. Because, why am I forgetting the name of the lead actress? She's the main lead actress as well in the Luke Evans, where he plays Zeus. Where Luke Evans plays Zeus. Henry Cavill, Luke Evans, and is it Immortals? I can't remember.
Immortals.
Yeah. That's right.
So the lead girl from that movie is the lead in this. So it's kind of set. It's like what's the best thing for it? An example, Pride and Prejudice kind of stylings, but it's a girl who is in love with a guy. She had to make a decision to not be with him, and now years later they come across each other again. I'll tell you what, not normally my cup of tea.
Is this a Henry Golding movie?
I think Henry Golding is in it.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly. I'll have to double check that. But I watched the trailer. I'm like, this actually looks kind of interesting. So Mr. Malcolm's List also comes out on July 1st. All right. Moving on to July 8th. A little film from a studio called Marvel called Thor, Love and Thunder. Obviously, this is coming off the hugely successful Thor Ragnarok. This is the next installment of the MCU. We got Natalie Portman back. You guys obviously all know about Thor, Love and Thunder, and that it is coming next week on July 8th. So keep your eyes open for that. Then on July 15th, and it's too bad Aaron and Chris aren't here because they would champion this film. But coming out on July 15th is Where the Crawdads Sing. I have not read the book. I did not like the trailers. I found nothing remotely interesting about this so far. But hey, it could be the best movie of the year. But that's coming out on July 15th. Also coming out on the same day is Paws of Fury, The Legend of Hank.
Yes.
This movie looks so bad.
What?
So bad. But I would be lying to you if I didn't admit that I laughed several times during the trailers. It still looks like utterly ridiculous and bad, but I did laugh in the trailer. So I don't know. Maybe, you know what I feel like? I have the same reaction to this as I did when the first trailers for Kung Fu Panda came out. I thought that looked just ridiculous. Some charming moments in the trailers. I ended up loving. Sorry, guys, about that. We are back. It looks like we had a bit of a freeze there, but we're back up and running. Okay, so we were just moving on to this. July 22nd is Nope. Nope is the one that Ray, I know, has been looking forward to more than any of the other ones. Ray, I'm just curious, Ray, why has this been one that you've been like absolutely dying to watch and see?
I'm a fan of the director, and of course, there's a UFO in it. You know, that's my thing, the space. But you know, it's probably going to be something completely different in the end. But yeah, it's just because I don't know what to expect from Jordan Peele. What goes on in his head, and I kind of like the way he thinks. All
right, so we move on from that. We go on to now DC's League of Super Pets coming out on July 29th. Again, file this one under, I don't even know why they're doing this one. Hey, Jonathan, can we get the monitor back up?
Gotcha.
I don't even know why they're doing this one. This trailer, look, everybody knows I am all about Dwayne The Rock Johnson. I love Dwayne The Rock Johnson. I really like Kevin Hart a lot. And I like my animated movies. I have no idea why this movie is even being made. I honestly feel like this was a Dwayne The Rock Johnson deal where it's like, all right, I'll do the movie, that movie, but you let me do this little animated project I want to do. I mean, I don't know if that's true or not. I don't want to speak for anybody, but to me, this looks awful. This looks really, really bad. So there's that.
Wait. So the 2 dog movies you don't think are going to be I'm just kidding.
I know, and I'm a dog guy. I'm totally a dog guy. Anyway, also then up on July 29th, we have Vengeance. Now, this is one that you've probably not heard a lot about, but it's BJ Novak from The Office. And he's basically this radio personality in a big city. He hooked up with some girl a couple of times, found out she died in her hometown, and just decides he's going to go there to pay his respects. But then he gets there, and the girl talks about him as if it was the most meaningful relationship, so the family is so glad that he's there. And then it turns into a bit of a murder mystery. I've always really liked BJ Novak. So this looks better than I think a lot of people are going to be giving it credit for. So that's Vengeance. That comes out on the 29th. So once again, on July 1st, we've got Minions. Also on July 1st, Mr. Malcolm's List. July 8th, Thor Love and Thunder. July 15th, we've got Where the Crawdads Sing and Paws of Fury, The Legend of Hank. On July 22nd, we've got Nope. On July 29th, we've got DC's League of Super Pets. And July 29th, we have Vengeance. So let me go over to you, Rob, on this. You look down that list. Which of these movies are standing out to you?
Well, first of all, I don't see an advantage of going to Where the Crawdads Sing. Like, who wants to go there? What if crawdads are singing? Is that where I want to be hanging out? Don't think so. I do want to see Love and Thunder, obviously. And of course, a big yep on Nope for me. I can't wait to see that film. I mean, I really, really like Get Out. Us had a lot of good stuff in it, but it was ultimately unsatisfying. But I do think that I love the trailers for Nope. I love what's going on. Now, BJ Novak, he did a series that I'm thinking that I don't remember the name of it, where it was like an anthology show where they were delving into different social issues.
Yes, I remember that.
Earlier this year. And I watched a couple episodes of that, and I heard him on NPR. Really respect him, respect his talent. I think, now, did he direct this film as well?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know, Ray. Can you look that up?
But
I believe he directed.
if he direct, it looks great to me.
Are you talking about Vengeance?
Yeah. It looks right up my alley. So I would say that Thor, Nope, and Vengeance would be the 3 movies that I would be most excited about. Now, I haven't looked into seeing independent movies coming out in July, or if there's any low budget. I mean, I'm not getting a Crimes of the Future this month.
Right.
I'm sad about that, because I guess you can't have them in every month. But
Chris, you look down that list. Which are the ones that are standing out to you that you're looking forward to the most?
Well, Thor, Love and Thunder, and of course we're going to talk about that later for
Yeah.
a little bit. Nope, 100%. That's been on my list since that first trailer. Unfortunately, the more recent trailer, I think, ruins a little too much of the movie. If you can avoid that last trailer, haven't seen it yet, do not watch the final trailer for Nope. And then, of course, Vengeance. I think BJ Novak wasn't he a writer on The Office, right? I mean, he was not just a performer,
Yep.
he was
That's right.
on the writing staff. So I think he's doing some really interesting stuff. So those are the ones that I'm looking forward to. Although I'm a big Hong Kong Phooey fan, so I could be persuaded. And Legend of the Super Pets, I can tell you exactly why that movie was made. It's HBO Max needs content. And the theatrical release of it is, to me, a commercial for the fact that that's going to be on HBO Max faster than you can blink. I mean, so that's why it was made. It was really to kind of fulfill, like, hey, HBO Max. And I'll say, just in terms of the streaming services that are out there, HBO Max is pretty much near the top of my list in terms of the variety of stuff that's on it. So just my personal thoughts on that. So, but yeah, that'll be on HBO Max pretty quickly. But those are the ones that stand out to me.
I got to take Thor Love and Thunder out just because I've seen it. But if I'm being honest, before going to see it, I mean, I've been saying all year, it's my number 1 most anticipated film this month. I mean, I'm very excited about it. And so that's there. I got to agree with you. Then it's Nope.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Jordan Peele. Now, I am hoping Nope is more Get Out than it was Us. I wasn't huge on Us. I hope he finds his way to kind of remine that stuff that he found and that he gave us in Get Out. So I hope there's more of that. But I have liked the trailers. They showed us that one trailer back at CinemaCon a couple of months ago too, and he kind of says, "So we're basically going to let you know something here in this new spot that we're going to show you." And of course, they showed what they showed. But I personally even still liked it because I think the first, I mean, it's aliens. I mean, the first trailer hints that it's aliens anyway, so they just come right out and admit, yeah, it's aliens. But is it? Isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, right? So there's that question there too. I'm not so sure.
I also want to say, I am a huge fan of movie taglines. I think movie taglines is a lost art that marketing in modern day has completely forgotten about. Pause of Fury. Time to mark some territory.
Okay, I'll give you that.
That is a great tagline. And if for nothing else, I'd be interested in seeing that movie, if only because I want to support that kind of marketing. I don't understand where taglines have gone. Like you think about some of the great taglines, maybe perhaps the greatest tagline ever written, "In space, no one can hear you scream."
Yeah, that's
Come on. Or Star Trek 4's "How on Earth Can They Save the Future?" Another great one. Jaws 2, "Just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water." What happened to taglines?
Yeah.
Jaws 4. This time it's personal.
Well, you can't win them all.
All right, guys. Question is for you. What do you think about the list of films we got coming out in July? A little something for everybody. What stands out to you the most? Whatever you guys are looking forward to, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Okay, guys. With that down and out of the way, before we get into our next main topic, we want to take a second to thank one of the sponsors of our show today, the good folks over at Stamps.com. We want to take a moment and thank the sponsor of today's video, Stamps.com. Now, guys, as a small business owner myself, I am always looking for ways to save costs, yes, but I know that our most valuable resource is time, and I'm always looking for things that can save us time. Stamps.com saves you both. Because when you're running a small business, every second counts. You can't afford to waste a single moment. So why are you still taking time out of your day to go to the post office when you could be using Stamps.com instead? Stamps.com makes mailing and shipping quick, easy, and cost-effective. How cost-effective? Well, you can get discounts that you can't find anywhere else, like up to 30% off USPS rates and 86% off UPS. And there's no special hardware technology you need. All you need is your regular computer and printer, no special supplies or equipment required. So guys, stop wasting time and start saving money when you use Stamps.com to mail and ship. Sign up with the promo code CAMPEA for a special offer that includes a 4-week trial plus free postage and a digital scale. No long-term commitments or contracts needed. Just go to Stamps.com, click on the microphone at the top of the page, and enter the code CAMPEA. And a big thank you to the folks at Stamps.com for sponsoring this episode of the John Campea Show. Okay, guys, with that down, let's move on to main topic number 2. Rob, what is our second main topic today?
Well, our second main topic comes from Minari S. Good morning, crew. There's Something About Mary was one of the first movies I ever got to see that I knew I was too young to be watching. But to this day, it is still one of my favorites of all time. So I was very happy to see that Cameron Diaz is coming back to movies and doing an action comedy with Jamie Foxx called Back in Action. What do you guys think about this? And are you happy Cameron Diaz is back? Thank you.
All right, thanks for sending that in. And this actually kind of came up right at the tail end of the show yesterday. Somebody wrote in it was breaking news as we were in the middle of the show. So we talked about it for just a second. Here's something, by the way. I think next month, There's Something About Mary turns 24. Wrap your heads around that. There's Something About Mary turns about, like, I think 24 years old next month, which is just insanity to me. Listen, I've always loved Cameron Diaz. My first exposure to Cameron Diaz, like a lot of people, was when she was in The Mask. Mm-hmm. To this day, she is, in The Mask, male or female, the hottest movie character ever. I don't think any male actor or female actress has ever looked as ridiculously liquid smoking hot as Cameron Diaz did in The Mask. Like it just, to this day, it boggles my mind. Me and my buddies would get that on VHS and just rewind just to watch her.
Wait a
on that.
minute. What about Ornella Muti as Princess
Aura.
Aura in, you know what I'm
Flash
talking about.
Gordon.
In Flash Gordon.
Of course.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, John.
I can't
Ornella Muti.
can't go there with you on that one. But when you look at the comedic career of Cameron Diaz, first of all, she turned in some great dramatic performances as well in her career. But some of the great classics, like you guys know that My Best Friend's Wedding is actually kind of one of my favorite comedies of all time, and one of only like 3 films I ever cried in my life. And so she's got that, Something About Mary, The Mask. Of course, I mean, everybody knows her Charlie's Angels films. The first one was great. The other one, I don't want to talk about so much. But she's just had that kind of career. And then back in 2000, I think it was 14, said she was done. She had done, what was it? Bad Teacher, and then she did Annie. And then she said, I had a great career. I'm stepping away. And for about 8 years, she has done it. But now, Jamie Foxx has called her back into action. This comes to us from the folks over at Variety who write the following. Cameron Diaz is officially out of retirement. The 49-year-old actor, who stepped back from Hollywood in 2018, will star alongside Jamie Foxx in Netflix's action comedy Back in Action. The project reunites Diaz and Foxx, who worked together on 1999 sports drama Any Given Sunday and 2014's Annie remake, which was Diaz's final role before retiring. Foxx made the announcement on Twitter, sharing audio from a phone call with Diaz, who can't seem to find the words to tell the world that she's returning to the silver screen. I don't know how to do this, she says. By the way, this has worked out really interesting because they did something really cool. So Jamie Foxx posted the audio of this, and you can hear them on the phone talking together. And Jamie Foxx goes, I got somebody here who can give you some advice about coming out of retirement. And I'm going to click him in right now. And Tom Brady comes on the line. The GOAT of GOATs. The man with 7 Infinity Stones on his fingers came in to give Cameron Diaz pointers about coming out. Look, I'll say this. Jamie Foxx's track record of Netflix original movies is not great. That superhero one he did with Joseph Gordon-Levitt a year or 2 ago, that was damn disappointing. And I love Jamie Foxx. Like you guys know, I love Jamie Foxx. I think he's great. That wasn't so awesome. But I do love that Cameron Diaz is going to be back on screen. And what better kind of a film than an action comedy called Back in Action to bring her out of retirement. So I'll tell you what, I don't know if this movie's going to be any good. Netflix's original films track record is still pretty spotty at best, but I do love Jamie Foxx, and I like seeing Cameron Diaz back. Anyway, Chris, you heard this news. What do you think about Cameron Diaz coming out of retirement for Back in Action?
Well, you spurred some memories, John, when you started talking about her in The Mask, and I just remember her dancing in that Spider-Man underoos in Charlie's Angels,
yep.
which is another thing you might want to look up. After the show's over, look that up. But no, I think it's great. I think it's also great that, it's unfortunate that so many great actresses, when they reach a certain age, are sort of put out to pasture. I think it's a huge mistake. Look at Jennifer Connelly in Top Gun. I mean, she's smoking hot now. So I'd love to see more of that. And Cameron Diaz, I always loved. I don't know why she went into retirement. I don't know if something happened or she just decided, hey, that's good, I'm going to step away. But I'm glad to see her back. And I'm glad to see more older, very attractive actresses get put on the big screen. I think it's a step in the right direction. I'm fully in favor of it. So, yeah.
Rob, you hear about this. What do you make of it?
I think it's great. I mean, I'm a huge fan of hers. Look, I'm a sucker for The Holiday. I love The Holiday.
Yeah.
I think she's great in that. She was great in the movie. Is it Walking in Her Shoes? With the little girl. I think Curtis Hanson directed it. Was that he made after that? But I'm really hoping, and please make this happen. I want a sequel to The Counselor, where her character comes back and wreaks more havoc. One of the greatest movies everybody hates. It's okay. And by the way, the director's cut, chef's kiss.
I not to evoke ghosts of Christmas past, but I still remember, I think we were doing an episode of Movie Talk and the topic came up of biggest disappointment movies ever. And I think Schnepp may have said The Counselor. It was like,
It
because
was wrong.
because that had so much between the director, Michael Fassbender. I mean, the cast of that movie was insanely
Brad
good.
Pitt.
Had everybody. I mean, it's such a great cast. Well, hey, that's the beautiful thing about film, man.
Javier Bardem and his weird, crazy hair.
Oh, he's great.
So good.
Look, again, I'll say this about it. I've had a place in my heart for Cameron Diaz since The Mask, and I just love seeing her on screen. So I think this is great. Anyway, the question is for you guys. What do you think about this? Are you excited about the idea of Cameron Diaz coming back? Do you just like the idea about this back in action, this romantic comedy? Jamie Foxx is there. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to main topic number 3. Rob, what is our third main topic today?
Well, our third main topic comes to us from Brian Meadows. I recently read in a few places that it's confirmed that the Percy Jackson show will be utilizing the volume during filming. Like many of you, I felt that the use of it in Obi-Wan was to the detriment of the 5th episode especially. I wanted to know your thoughts and if this has affected your anticipation for the show. Thanks, and bring on the filthy.
All right, thanks a lot for saying that in, man. And yeah, first of all, there were a lot more people than I were anticipating getting excited when they said they were going to be doing a Percy Jackson series. I personally like the movies. I didn't love the second one, but I personally thought the first one was pretty good. It introduced us to a guy I'm still a fan of, Logan Lerman, at the time, who I thought was pretty good in the role. Now, granted, I never read the book, so don't go, it was nothing like the books, Dad. Okay, I get it, but I didn't read the books. Fine. I just watched the movie and I judged it in its own right. I thought it was pretty good. But there's a lot of great mythology there. So to revisit the Percy Jackson thing, I'm all for. And yeah, it looks like they're going to be using the volume, the same stages that they've used for Mandalorian famously. Of course, they used a lot for Obi-Wan and some other things as well. This comes from the folks over at The Hollywood Reporter who write the following. Upcoming Disney Plus series Percy Jackson and the Olympians is taking the virtual production route. The 20th Century series, based on Rick Riordan's best-selling novels, has started production in Vancouver, Canada, and will be the first project to be made on Industrial Light and Magic's newly built Stagecraft LED stage, which features a 95-foot LED screen. With ILM Stagecraft technology, we allow filmmakers to design, light, and shoot the digital world as they would in practical world, all integrated in front of the cast and crew on stage, said Chris Bannister, the executive producer of ILM Stagecraft. All right. Guys, the person who wrote in the message alluded to the fact that in Obi-Wan, the use of the volume became rather obvious, and they suggest to the detriment of the show. I would disagree on this level. The volume is simply a tool. I would say what was to the detriment of Obi-Wan was not just the writing of it per se, but the visualization of what they wanted that show to be. All the volume then does is it, as a piece of technology, tries to deliver the things you are visualizing. And if you want to visualize barren desert worlds, okay. If you want to visualize other certain things, because there were parts of Obi-Wan, I would say, like at the, what's it called again? The Inquisitorius? Was that the name of the base? The Inquisitorium? The Inquisitor Wonderland
Something
Wonka?
like that.
Whatever it was?
The future Disneyland.
I would say yes, probably, definitely. But the Inquisitor home base, I actually thought looked fairly good when they were shooting their scenes there. I think it's, again, the problem isn't the tool. The problem was the visualization of what they were doing. Because when we first saw it in Mandalorian, we were wowed, right? Yes, a lot of it was the same desert kind of landscapes, but it was visualized a little bit differently and it didn't feel as confined. So again, I don't blame the tool itself. Therefore, for me, I don't see them utilizing the volume in Percy Jackson as a good or a bad thing. I mean, it's good in some ways that it's going to allow them to do certain things that they'd never be able to afford to do on a television budget, no matter how big you think TV budgets are. So that's a good thing. But again, it's just a tool. It's all about how do the wielders of the tools use it, right? And that's the ultimate question. Anyway, Rob, I know we've been amazed by the technology that something like the volume allows. What do you think about Percy Jackson, the Olympians, taking this route?
Well, John, on one hand, the thing that people have to understand about volume stages, on limited television budgets, the volume stages allow you to create vistas and places you couldn't afford, nor could you afford to go on location. And I'm sure with a show like Percy Jackson, with a lot of fantasy elements, it's going to allow you to visualize things that are tremendous. But like everything else, the people that are utilizing the tools really have to understand what those tools can do and how you can utilize them. You know, I'll give you an example of something from, this is going to seem strange for people, but in Obi-Wan Kenobi, there is a 50-50 shot of a Star Destroyer going by right through the camera, 50-50, and the Star Destroyer is firing. You should never, ever show a Star Destroyer in a 50-50 shot that way. It's not dynamic. It looks dumb. It makes one of the great imposing starships ever look goofy. You always should show Star Destroyers in some kind of an angle, never a 50-50, but they did it. And you're looking at it because I understand. That's when a director has to come in and really understand, look, man, it's just like an actor. With a volume stage, you have to understand, because what a volume stage does, so for people that don't know, is you have a generated background that also works with the camera, like on a parallax, so it can move as you move the camera, and it's incredible technology. It's amazing, but you have to know how to use it and which angles you can shoot from, and that requires pre-planning, and it requires a director to really understand how to utilize the technology, just like anything else. And I think for a show like Percy Jackson, the volume stage is going to be a huge benefit, as long as it's pre-planned and everybody's on the same page and you don't get a shot. And I think often we've seen this in Obi-Wan and Book of Boba Fett. The directors aren't necessarily as practiced, or they aren't involved in the process from the beginning enough. And I think it's going to require, as we see, like Deborah Chow has had a lot of experience using the volume, and I think she used it quite well for the most part in Obi-Wan. Sometimes maybe not so much, but it is a new technology. It's developing, and for the most part, we're going to be able to see in especially fantasy shows a lot of great stuff that you couldn't otherwise see. It would be too much money to realize those on a television budget.
Chris, you hear about this. I mean, it is remarkable technology that most of the industry isn't really using yet. What do you think about them going in this direction and getting their hands on this technology and using this new stage?
I think it depends on who's behind the camera. John, you mentioned it and you said it, like, this is a great new tool, but it's just a tool, right? So, in the hands of, say, someone like a Christopher Nolan, I think you're going to get amazing results, because I think he's an incredibly detail-oriented director who looks for the best method to, achieve a special effect. You could also put it in the hands of, say, an Uwe Boll, and it may not turn out so well. Shout out to Uwe Boll. But also, so I really just think that this is a new tool. People are just getting used to it. It's just like when blue screens were first introduced, like in the 70s, you'd see there's good blue screen, say in the original Star Wars films, or there's bad blue screen, such as and I'm going to bring up Ornella Moody again. In Flash Gordon, there was very bad blue screen where you could see the lines around things where it's just not lit correctly. Same thing in David Lynch's Dune. There's some shots there that were just pretty god-awful because not utilizing the technology correctly. So I think, it's about utilizing that tool in the best way. And Rob, you brought it up, that 50-50 shot, that also bothered me. If you're going to shoot something like a Star Destroyer, there has to be some dynamism, right? There has to be something that makes it look imposing, and they even kind of repeated a shot in Kenobi. And I've, I don't want to get in a Kenobi debate. I'm saying that these tools depends on whose hands they're in. And I think because it's so new, we've seen it used well. We've seen it used not so well. I'm sure we'll discuss it maybe a little bit when we get to Thor: Love and Thunder. But again, I think it's like pushing the limits of this technology, and in the hands of someone who knows how to shoot a Star Destroyer, which is not in the 50-50, and someone who would think of a different way of showing it. So that's important.
Guys, the question is for you. What do you think about this? Are you looking forward to a Percy Jackson movie or a new series? I'm actually very curious to see what they can do. What do you think about the fact that they're going to utilize the volume to do it? Good, bad, indifferent, whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and leave your thoughts there. Okay, guys, with that down, we're going to take a second and thank another sponsor of today's episode. We love Masterclass around here. So take a look at this message about Masterclass. We want to take a moment and thank the sponsor of today's video, Masterclass. You guys know we love Masterclass around here and have been talking about them for a while. With over 100 classes from a wide range of world-class instructors, that thing you've always wanted to do is closer than you think. And you guys know one of my favorite classes on here is Bob Iger teaching business strategy and leadership. I go back and watch that like all the time. But also I recently discovered the new class on comedy by Steve Martin, where it includes comedy screenwriting as he does this great case study for one of my all-time favorite comedies, Roxanne. I've gotten more into screenwriting by taking a class from Aaron Sorkin himself. And of course, you guys know I'm a poker guy and I love my good Canadian kid, Daniel Negreanu, and I've been watching his stuff on poker strategy. It's absolutely fantastic. So guys, we highly recommend that you check it out. Get unlimited access to every single masterclass. And as a John Campea Show viewer and listener, you get 15% off an annual membership. So go to masterclass.com/Campea. That's masterclass.com/Campea for 15% off Masterclass. And a big thank you to our friends at Masterclass. I'm on it every week for sponsoring this episode of the John Campea Show. Remember, guys, when you support our sponsors, you're actually supporting the show. We've got links to all the sponsors and the promo codes near the top of the description below. Go and check them out there. All right. With that down, let's get into main topic number 4. Rob, what is our fourth main topic today?
Our fourth main topic comes to us from Everett Shimwell. Hi, John. In an interview with Variety, the Duffer Brothers revealed that there will be a body count, in Volume 2 of Stranger Things 4. With everything that's taken place in the first 7 episodes, who do you think could it be that dies? Do you have any predictions for the final 2-episode, the 2-episode finale? Thanks, and bring on the filthy.
Yeah, tonight, it's game day.
Game day.
Several things. We got For All Mankind.
Yeah.
We got The New Boys. And at midnight, we've got the dropping of the final 2 episodes of Stranger Things Season 4. The final 2 episodes that combined are longer than the entire series of Obi-Wan. Still, our final 2 episodes, very excited about it. We know there are going to be people who die. Significant people who die. So I want to propose who I believe that's going to be. And then, Rob, I want to go to you and hear who you think it's going to be. There are 3 names I got for you. Actually, 2 names, because I'm freezing on the name of the 3rd character right now. But you'll know who I'm talking about when we start talking about them. Okay. First, I'll start with not a major name in Stranger Things, but has been a significant player this season. And that is the man with no face from Game of Thrones, the Russian prison guard who tried to get Hopper out, Dmitri. I think he's going to die. They've told too many stories about his son and wants to make his son proud. Doesn't want to, you'll get back to your son and all this kind of stuff. Dmitri ain't getting back to his son. So I'm going to start with Dmitri will die in the next 2 episodes of this show. All right. Now I'm going to go to one that I think everybody's predicting. And I'm going to throw my name in the hat on this one too. Steve. Steve is going to die.
I agree.
The one thing I have really not liked about this season of Stranger Things, I don't like this awkward, unnatural, forced rekindling of the flame between Steve and Nancy. I've actually found it, not only as a viewer do I not want those two to hook up, it's like it doesn't feel natural. Like it just feels very forced. But I feel like the reason they're forcing it is to increase the emotional impact when Steve bites it. So I think Steve is not long for this world. Now let me go to the 3rd character whose name I'm totally forgetting. And maybe you guys in the live chat. What's that?
They're saying Enzo?
Already mentioned.
Sorry.
Dimitri, yeah. So there are those 2. Hopper's buddy. The paranoid guy who goes along with her to go and rescue Hopper, who knows karate and all that. I'm forgetting his name. So guys in the live chat, if you guys know
the X-Files character, the conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, basically the X-Files character.
Yeah.
I love this character.
The 4th
Murray
gunman.
Murray.
Yeah.
It's thank you.
Chris Clauser.
Chris Clauser was the first one to throw it in, but also Blub, Bryce, Murray. I think Murray's going to die. And I think there isn't going to be a death on this series that's going to upset me more. Because this character's great. He's the funniest character on the show. But he's actually quite intelligent and smart, and he pushes the story forward a lot. So, and obviously Vecna. Vecna's going to die. I mean, that's obvious. So Vecna's going to die. But, so I would go Dimitri, Enzo, I would say Murray, and I would say Steve. Those are the three names. I don't think any of the kids are going to die. Not because they can't. I just don't think they will. But those are my three main picks for the deaths. Rob, we got the final 2 episodes. Stranger Things coming here. We know somebody's going to die. Probably multiple people. Who do you think those people are going to be?
I think you pretty much nailed it, but I got an off the wall prediction. I think Winona Ryder's going to die.
Big impact on Hopper.
Yeah, that's what I think's going to happen. That she's going to sacrifice herself somehow to get Hopper back, because we saw they played off, the end of season 3 when they were together, and Hopper was the one that, he suffered the tortures of the damned in Russia. And I think that the mistake was that she wasn't able to save him from this horrible fate that he's been suffering. I think she's going to die. And I'm going to say this. I also think something else is going to happen. I think the season's going to end on a huge cliffhanger. And I think 11's going to be trapped in the Upside Down.
I could see that. I mean, look, one of the things they've already said in this season is that, because I'm hearing people in the live chat saying Vecna's the main villain. No, he's not. They've already said in this series, Vecna's just the general.
Mm-hmm.
The Mind Flayer's the main villain. Vecna's the general. So I think he's basically Count Dooku. That's who Vecna is. So they're going to brush Dooku aside here in a second and then move on to the main antagonist here in a minute. So that's why I think he's gone. And by the way, I don't know that for sure. I'm just guessing.
No, and she's going to seal off the opening to the Upside Down from the inside. She's always on the outside sealing everything. She's probably going to dispense with Vecna, but she's going to be in there, and that's going to be the big cliffhanger. And the Upside Down is going to spill out into our world or whatever.
The only reason I don't know that they'll kill Winona Ryder is the fact that creates, for a story, it creates a problem that now you've got these orphan kids.
Yeah.
That can no longer be part. They're going to be shipped off and be part of whatever orphanage or whatever.
Well, parents die. And I think that that's going to be part of what season 5 is going to be about.
Let me ask you this. What about Hopper? They ended last season with the fake out, and we all knew he was still alive. Could they actually kill Hopper this season?
You know what? I think that he has earned more life because he really did suffer in a Soviet gulag. I mean, it was not a nice place to be. And I think that while Winona Ryder got her cushy life with her kids and, got to chill out, Hopper he was literally tortured. And I think that would be sort of poetic if Winona Ryder was in a way couldn't save him at the end of season 3. So she ends up sacrificing herself so he gets to come back.
What about...
And then he becomes the proxy father for the kids.
What about this? Let's throw in another character here. What about Robert Downey Jr.? Eddie, the kid on the run, the dungeon master of their D&D game. Eddie, do you think he could be on the chopping block?
You know what? The thing about that is again, he's a character that has been in a way tortured all season. He's on the run. He's been blamed for things he didn't do, and he's the obvious cannon fodder. But he's the metalhead anti-Satanist. You've got a bunch of people that have accused him of things that he didn't do. He can't be the one to sacrifice himself because he's the new kid in town. It'll be too obvious. You kill him, it's like, of course. If you're going to kill people, you've got to kill people that have been around for a while. So the audience feels it.
Couldn't it be both? Couldn't it be both? Couldn't he kill?
I think he's the obvious person. Like, we make you like him, and then we kill him. It wouldn't be surprising if he dies.
Let me throw another name out to you. I haven't heard anybody mention this one. What about Nancy?
Oh yeah,
she got her thing going with Steve. She got her thing going with, could Nancy actually, in many ways, she's kind of, other than 11, she's kind of been one of the cornerstone characters of the series.
Yep.
Do you think Nancy's head could be on the chopping block?
If her head's on the chopping block, kill her and Steve. They go in a blaze of glory together, saving multiple characters. And, it was their love that saved us. Because, look, I'll tell you one thing. This season of Stranger Things, they have not shied away from killing kids in horrible fashion.
Oh, my God, it's been glorious.
And it has been amazing. I have so loved watching Vecna fold these kids up limb from limb, tearing them asunder. It's been awesome. Some of the best on-screen TV deaths ever. And what would be more glorious than lovers, potential, a flame that is rekindled, snuffed out in a Stranger Things graphic fashion where, like, can you imagine their limbs getting, like, intertwined and their death leaves them some desiccated husk in a embrace of horror? Bring it on.
All right, let me throw a couple more names at you. 11.
They can't kill Millie Bobby Brown.
Can't they? I mean,
They can't.
isn't the fact that we would even say that kind of maybe make her a prime candidate? At least, would it be fair to say that the death of 11 would be the most surprising thing they could do?
Yeah, I mean, okay. They could, but they got one more season, and she's kind of like, she was the breakout star of the show. I mean, people look at it wasn't like anyone else was in Godzilla versus Kong.
Well, what about a couple of the main key kids? Particularly, I'm thinking about Finn Wolfhard's Mike and everybody's favorite Dustin. Do you think they could, or I mean, is it just you want to say, look, the Stranger Things is about that, it's expanded, but it's about those 4 main kids, and they're untouchable. Do you think they're untouchable? Do you think one of them could get knocked off here?
Well, I mean, Dustin does have a new Netflix movie he's starring in.
Ari Gayton has a new movie?
Yeah. That was written by David Goodman, president of the WGA and executive producer of The Orville. That could happen. I could see that happening. He's got a Broadway career. But then what do you do? I mean, they still have to come back for season 5.
Do they come back for season 5? Well, what about here's one last one. Ethan Hawke's daughter, Maya Hawke.
Oh yeah, you can kill her.
Steve's best friend. Oh, really?
I mean, I like her. She's great, but she's a character they added in the 3rd season.
Right.
You like her, but she's not a foundational Stranger Things character. She's on the chopping block. Sure.
She's expendable.
All
right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, guys, question is for you. We are right now about 12 hours and 20 minutes away from the dropping of the final 2 episodes of Stranger Things Season 4. I'm not a huge Stranger Things fan, but this season has been utterly fantastic. It's been great.
Well, let me ask you, as my employer and my boss and my friend, are we expected to watch all 4 hours of Stranger Things before the show tomorrow so we can discuss this?
I will. I'm not putting any expectation on anybody else to.
I'm just asking because you could.
I mean, if you want to, by all means.
I think we have to. I think
we won't talk about it in a spoiler way tomorrow. We won't do an open spoiler discussion of it tomorrow because that's way too early because there's 4 hours to cover. It's not like it's a half-hour television show where it's like if you don't want to hear about a half hour of TV that was already made public, that's on you to avoid it. But 4 hours, we got to get
it'd be like watching Abel Gantz's Napoleon in one sitting, but starting it at midnight. It's going to be rough.
Return of the King director's cut.
There you go, man.
Anyway, guys, question is for you. Who do you think is biting the dust in the final 2 episodes of Stranger Things? Maybe there's a couple of names we left off the list. Whoever you think it could be, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Okay, guys. With that down, let's move on to our 5th and final main topic today. Rob, what is our 5th main topic today?
It comes from Mark. Hey, John, I noticed on Twitter that you went to see Thor, Love and Thunder last night. I've been hearing a lot of good things about it so far. I know you really like the Thor character, so I wanted to know what you thought about it. Is it as good as Ragnarok? How does it rank with the Marvel Phase 4 stuff so far? Thanks.
All right, thanks a lot for sending that in, Mark. And just to let you know, we got to keep this part brief. The social media reactions, and by the way, guys, you guys have seen the social media reactions from Thor, Love and Thunder. They have been bonkers good, like outrageously good, the initial reactions. So we can talk about our initial reactions. We cannot give a proper review right now because the embargo for the proper review doesn't lift for a few more days. So we're going to have to keep it fairly limited to our just basic general reaction to a couple of key things. Okay? With that said, I'll go first because Chris was there with me too last night. So let me give you my quick thoughts here. In general, I thought it was a thoroughly entertaining movie. Or some people correct me and say a thoroughly entertaining movie. I was very entertained by it. I was. It is sillier than Thor Ragnarok. It took those silly elements and decided to lean into them and go a little bit that way. But that is not necessarily a bad thing, depending on the results, right? And the results of this film is I laughed a lot. I will also say this. One of the things in the MCU that has never worked for me is Thor and Jane's relationship. I've never cared about it. This movie made me care about it. Like suddenly, oh my God, I actually like this relationship now. And I've never liked that relationship before. So that was certainly a positive thing. The ending of the story, I mentioned this in my out of the theater reaction. I didn't love the ending of the story. Didn't hate it, but it didn't quite resonate with me the way the story ended. The ending of the movie is great, but the ending of the story didn't quite resonate with me. Mid-credit scene is the biggest pop I've heard for a mid-credit scene since the J.K. Simmons in Spider-Man Far From Home mid-credit scene. And it's the first time I gasped in a post-credit scene in a while. The post-credit scene happened, I'm like, what? So for me, it was very, very good. That post-credit scene was fantastic. The performances were great. Chris Hemsworth more and more just owns this Thor. And you can tell he has a joy playing this Thor. And he's constantly carrying it. And by the way, some people saying, well, this is going to be Jane's movie. It's not Jane's movie. This is Chris Hemsworth's movie. Jane is definitely a supporting character. That said, Natalie Portman, I thought was great. Tessa Thompson, great. Christian Bale is Christian Bale, so water wet. Christian Bale was great. Is it for me a top 5 film of the year? No. Is it for me the best Marvel thing this year? Well, it's better than Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness. And I liked Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness. I like that movie. I think it's better than that.
How are the goats, dude?
The goats are fucking awesome. I thought the goats were awesome. Anyway. So yeah, that general thoughts, I'll give a much more in-depth kind of take on it once the actual review embargo list. But those are just a couple of quick points for you on me in this. I liked it quite a bit. I thought it was very entertaining. Again, it leans more into the silly. Although there were audible sobbing in people sitting around me, like audibly, I could hear the snifflings, and like kind of crying at near the end of the movie
Because of the goats.
Definitely because of the goats. All I can say is I think you should see the movie. Anyway, Chris, you were also there.
Yeah.
Again, same restrictions on you as on me.
Sure.
Keep it confined here. We can just give general ideas and reactions. But what was your general reception of the film?
I thought it was fun. I love Chris Hemsworth as Thor. I think he just nails it. I think he's one of the few, Marvel heroes that's willing, or at least as an actor, willing to see his character kind of humiliated and kind of, which in a good way. We were talking about Indiana Jones before the show, and it's like in that kind of thing, he really works. I think the movie, the overall tone, you're right. It's even more leaning into the comedy than Ragnarok, and it's fun. I just felt that it felt more like an episode of a Thor television show than a Thor movie or even a movie. And I think it's one of the better, if not, with the exception of, say, Spider-Man No Way Home, probably the best of the Phase 4 movies. And and I was surprised, there's a lot of people talking, well, Thor's going to be sidelined in his own movie. It's going to be Valkyrie and Jane Foster. And nope. They're really good supporting characters.
Yeah. Very
Very good supporting characters. This is Thor's film. And I was surprised that I liked it as much as I did. And, the flaws and nitpicks, I'll talk about, in a longer review.
But it's something you said when you came into the studio this morning that kind of made a light bulb go off over my head. I love the way you put it. You said it was because following up what you just said, you said, it felt more like a really good episode of the Thor TV show.
Yeah.
As opposed to the Thor movie. And we can't go into details as to why I think what Chris said really resonated with me. You'll see what we mean. But yeah, it felt like a really good episode of a Thor TV show. But still, entertaining. The people at the theater I was at seemed to react very, very well to it. There was some good buzz coming out of the theater. Again, I have my issues with it. I think it might be the third best film of Phase 4. Is Shang-Chi counts as Phase 4?
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say it's Shang-Chi, Spider-Man, No Way Home, and then maybe Thor.
Well, let me ask you guys, was it the season finale of a TV show?
No.
Definitely not.
No.
Oh,
the mid-credit scene, damn, I can't wait to talk about the mid-credit scene. I loved the mid-credit scene. I really did. I can't even remember the last scene. Like the end credit scene, I'm gonna have to talk to you afterwards.
Yeah, we'll talk
because Rob was asking me about it. I'm like, I realized I can't even remember the final scene. At any rate, so there you go, guys. Those are our initial reactions. I know that was short, but we will go more into it when the review embargo lifts. We'll go definitely heavier into it. But those are our general thoughts on Thor: Love and Thunder. What do you guys think? Where's your anticipation level right now for Thor: Love and Thunder? Whatever you guys are thinking, jump down to the comment section below and leave your thoughts there. Okay, guys. Pardon me. For now, we are going to open up the super chats. You guys, now, if you got your thoughts, opinions, comments, questions, theories, critiques, whatever you guys got about any of the topics we just talked about or others, go ahead and you can start firing those into the super chat now. We will read those in just a second. But before we get to them, we're going to hear from our last sponsor of today, our good friend Ryan Reynolds and his company, Mint Mobile. Guys, we want to thank the sponsor of today's video, Mint Mobile. You know, the one with the delightful ads with good Canadian kid Ryan Reynolds. So look, after years of fine print contracts and getting ripped off by big wireless providers, if we've learned anything, it's that there's always a catch. So when I first heard that Mint Mobile offers premium wireless starting at just $15 a month, I thought, what's the catch? But after talking to them and using their service, it all made sense. There isn't a catch. And guys, that's no joke, because for years I've been using one of the major providers and it was fine. But I switched over to Mint Mobile a little while ago. The service has been fantastic. And the big difference is I'm now paying about 1/3 of what I was paying before. And the best part for anybody who just hates their phone bills is that Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for just $15 a month. All of their plans come with unlimited talk and text plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone number along with all your existing contacts. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/Campea. That's mintmobile.com/Campea. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/Campea. And thank you to our friends over at Mint Mobile, owned by good Canadian kid Ryan Reynolds, for sponsoring this episode of the John Campea Show. All right, guys, we're going to get into your live comments and questions now. We're going to start off, by the way, we have channel memberships here. We'd love for you guys to become a member of the channel. But Ray, we've got a few of our channel members that sent in some thoughts. What do we got here?
We just got another one in, but Chase Scott, he gifted 5 memberships.
Oh, gifted memberships. Right. Thank you, man. That's incredibly generous of you. Thank you for doing that, dude.
And Cincinnati 5-Star Barber says, Thursday Bro Show. That's it.
Cincinnati 5-Star. By the way, Bengals are going to, I don't know that they're going to get back to the Super Bowl. They're going to have a really good year, though. They're going to have a really good year. All right, what's next?
Hoop Suni says, Netflix release strategy definitely worked for Stranger Things Season 4 because with all the theorizing and hype after Part 1, I finally caught up and watched the whole series. Probably wouldn't had it if it didn't all come out at the same time.
This is, again, just the next tiny step towards Netflix moving towards a weekly release schedule. Because you're right. If they had dropped all of Stranger Things Season 4 all at once, everybody would have talked about it for 3 days, and then the conversation would be done. Instead, we've been talking about it all month. And now we're still going to be talking about it for another week. And that's why for the other streamers, they have much more success releasing week to week because it keeps those shows in the conversation As long as the conversation keeps going, more people go, well, maybe I should check that out. And they go back. The sooner that the conversation stops, that's when you stop having new people come in and get on board. That's why shows like WandaVision grew in its viewership week after week after week after week after week. It just kept going up and up and up until it was the #1 show in the world. So yes, this is just one little tiny step for Netflix moving towards, I'm guessing within the next 3 years, you're going to see them being on a week-to-week release schedule.
Okay, Living with Dameron says, ease my mind. In Thor Love and Thunder, does Bale sound good as Gore? Voice-wise, is he creepy, too normal, cartoonish, great? Hopefully not a spoiler.
He's creepy as fuck. Like there are certainly moments that he is so freaking creepy. I like his, I mean, that's the thing about comic book voices. Like it's up to you to make it up in your head what the voice sounds like, right? And I don't think there's ever been an iteration of Gore's voice. So personally, I liked it. What do you think of Bale's voice?
I thought Gore was great. I mean, Christian Bale as Gore is great.
Gore is great.
No, but what's I mean, they, you know, and this is something it's not exactly original, but it's like nice to see his backstory, see his motivations for where he is. And I personally love Christian Bale. I mean, you know, he's my Batman. And he's fantastic in the movie. So,
all right.
Okay.
High praise.
Broccoli says, hey, John, as far as MCU quality that you talk about in Phase 4, would you put Thor 4 in the same grouping as WandaVision, Miss Marvel, Shang-Chi, or would you say it's more mid-tier level? Thanks.
I'd say, first of all, the production value of the movie is great. I mean, they go to Omnipotent City, which you see in the trailer, so I'm not giving anything away. When they go to Omnipotent City, I got caught with a little bit of wow, just watching as the cameras would sprawl across everything there. As far as overall quality goes, I would say I would put it closer to Shang-Chi, WandaVision, Miss Marvel than I would say Black Widow, Loki, whatever. So while I won't say it's the top quality shelf that they've been able to do, I'd say it's closer to that than the other mid stuff that they've done so far in Phase 4. Because, I haven't been there's certainly things I love about Phase 4, but I haven't been the biggest fan of Phase 4. But I think this is closer to the top.
And you guys mentioned they used the volume in this movie, right? Didn't you guys say that?
For Thor, I'm not exactly sure. I wouldn't be surprised if they did.
Yeah, they did use the volume.
But I mean, they also do a lot of actual location shooting. But yeah, I'm not surprised at all to hear they use some stuff for the volume.
Last one. This one's pretty cool. It says Alex Bernardini. He says, hey guys, I'm an NHL jersey designer in Vancouver.
Nice.
Would love to make some JCS jerseys for each of you. Also, happy early Canada Day, John.
That's right. Canada Day's coming up. Dude, I would love some jerseys. Jerseys would be great. Keep in touch with Ray. Let's see what we do.
Awesome.
All right. Let's get over to the super chats that you guys have been firing in. Rob, what do we got going on here?
Well, we've got, is that from yesterday? Connie's
from yesterday.
I'm just going to say Connie because she's awesome.
Yeah, we love mentioning Connie.
Al Renshaw sends in a super chat and says, John, did the Jane helmet scene moment from the Thor trailer bother you in the movie?
Yep, it did. For those of you who don't know what he's talking about, I like the Thor Love and Thunder trailers. Of course I did. Yeah, I did. But the one part you guys remember that I hated about the trailer was the Scooby-Doo. Like when Jane comes up and Thor's like, Jane? I'm like, oh, that's bad. And yes, even though I knew it was coming and I was prepared, it comes across every bit as pathetic and dumb as it did in the trailer. Yes.
Uh-oh.
It was just one moment, but yes, it bothered me.
Okay. Andy, one of two. I thought Homelander was going to kill Stan when they were up in the Vought Tower. Instead, Stan insults him and walks away like the boss he is. Reminds...
You passed it.
Reminds me of when Batman asks Superman if he bleeds.
But that's the ultimate... Stan Edgars is actually the most powerful person in The Boys. It ain't Soldier Boy, it ain't Homelander, it ain't Starlight, it's Stan because he knows. He has Homelander genetically mapped out to a T in his head, and he knows what Homelander won't do. Homelander is still intimidated by Stan Edgar. He is the biggest badass in the show. Not Billy Butcher, not in Mother's Milk, none of the it's Stan Edgar is the biggest badass in the show, and he'll stand there. He doesn't even sweat. He's standing there pissing on Homelander's feet, and he knows he can just grin in his face, and he won't do a damn thing about it. He's the coolest character in the show.
Love him. I stand for Stan. Tyler Pfeiffer sends in a super chat and says, my favorite Doctor Doom story doesn't include the Fantastic Four at all. Triumph and Torment would be a sight to behold on the big screen. Could even get Raimi to direct it.
I'll tell you what is the one, I keep freezing on the one where Doom actually becomes the apprentice of Doctor Strange.
What if?
No.
What if Dr. Doom
Oh, no.
became-
There's what's guys in the live chat? What's the name of that storyline again? Where Doom actually becomes Doctor Strange's apprentice.
I think I have that hardcover graphic novel, and I can't think of the name of it.
Yeah, I think that might be my my favorite story of Doctor Doom. I'm going to keep half an eye on the live chat, see if anybody knows the name of it. But anyway, okay, what's next?
Bert says, I predict Eddie Munson shredding guitar in the Upside Down is going to be the highlight of Stranger Things Season 4. It's going to be a very metal moment.
That I wasn't the only one that had. What was the frickin' Mad Max, the most recent Mad Max
Doof
movie?
Warrior in Fury Road.
Fury Road, yeah. I told you, was I the only one getting those vibes?
Oh, I think that was intentional.
Yeah, it totally was there. All right, what's next?
Josie Reviews sends in a super chat and says, torture Eddie some more, but don't kill Steve.
I like the character. He's a good kid. But when you really break it down from a narrative point of view, he is the most expendable character.
He's outlived his usefulness.
He has outlived his usefulness. And I think they've been doing work. Now, we're going to find out in 24 hours if we were dead wrong about this. But my guess is they've been putting in the work in this season to get some reason to care about him so that when they rip him away, we'll feel it. Especially poor, we were just talking about the kid, Dustin. Especially poor Dustin. He's going to be devastated. Absolutely devastated. All right, what's next?
Andy says, I'm starting my 4-day weekend after I get off work today, and you know what's a perfect way to kick off this relaxing weekend? A new episode of The Boys.
Oh, dude, this is a great way to start any day. Especially after I thought the brilliance of Herogasm.
Did you read the Vought tweet about Starlight's
Yes,
Instagram
I did.
message?
Have you been keeping up with The Boys, by the way? Chris?
Yeah. What? I got to hear about this tweet.
So Vought, first of all, the brilliance of The Boys marketing that started 6 months before this season started. As a matter of fact, where's my phone? I got to read this. I'll read another question. I'll find it because this Vought tweet I thought was genius. But lay it on me. Stub McShave says, do you think there will be a release date announced for the Shogun series at Comic-Con or possibly D23 since it'll be shown on Disney Plus Star internationally? Dude, you know Shogun's one of my favorite things in the world, and you love Shogun.
Yes, I do.
They've announced this is turning into the Flash of TV miniseries. They've announced it. They say they're making it. I don't even believe it exists.
Well, here's the difference, though. The difference is they didn't have 5 release dates that they moved, 4 sets of writers that they replaced.
It's true.
3.5 directors that they've gone through, and a star of the show that has apparently starts living in another dimension. So no, it's not a Flash situation. They just announced it really early because they announced like 2 years ago at that Disney investor call, we are bringing Shogun, which is the part in that investor call that got my heart most fluttering. Couldn't believe it. So excited about it.
Shogun.
But yeah, I think
That's what I say.
I think by the end of D23, I think we'll have a release date for it. I don't know that for sure, but my guess is we'll have a release date.
I can't wait. It's one of my favorite books ever.
Yep.
I love the miniseries. By the way, I found this tweet.
Okay.
It's worth reading because this is amazing. This comes from Vought International.
The official Twitter account.
Twitter account of Vought International. The recent accusations made by Annie January, codenamed Starlight, on recent social media live stream in no way reflect Vought International as a whole. Vought assures our shareholders that we will use the full power of the American legal system to fight these spurious allegations. We can also confirm that January has been terminated and her status as co-captain of the Seven rescinded, effective immediately. January is a glory hound who became hysterical with rage after Homelander ended their relationship. Sadly, her crazed jealousy has boiled over into insurrectionist territory and has made a reconciliation impossible. We ultimately regret making January a member of the Seven.
Wow. Heavy stuff.
That's like adding to the mythology of the show with a tweet.
Remember, they've been running their YouTube show, The 7 on 7, for almost a year. They're
genius.
Yeah, it has been absolutely genius stuff. All right, what's next?
Anubis genocide. Yow. One of two. I think if one of the OG children in Stranger Things were to be killed off, it would be Mike. It would probably be the most galvanizing to the rest of the group and would probably be a catalyst for 11 unleashing another level of power. Actually, it's now 2 of 3.
That's true.
Here we go.
Dustin would be the most difficult to kill off because he's too smart and also the audience's main exposition character.
Okay. So, oh, wait a minute. I just got messaged something about,
I got it too.
more Ezra Miller drama. We'll get to that later.
Ezra Miller, let's do it.
More Ezra Miller stuff.
More Ezra Miller.
Let
come
me
on.
look into that in a second. You're not wrong about Dustin. I think Dustin is probably the one more so than 11 that if you killed him off would upset the most people. I think the more viewers than any other character on the show would be upset if you killed off Dustin. I don't think he's anybody's favorite character, but I think he's the character everybody loves the most.
And he's been great this season.
He really has.
Really like him a lot.
All right. What's next?
Alex Motta says, hey, John, thanks again for the recommendations for The Black Phone as a date night movie. Went to an AMC for a late night showing, and her and I had a great time. Love the movie.
Well, yeah, the movie is a lot of fun. And here's the thing. I had somebody, a very ignorant individual. Their parents should be ashamed of them, all this kind of stuff. Because they don't take the full advice of John Campea, Love Dr. MD. Because they wrote in our comments saying, recommending a movie as a date is a terrible idea. You can't use movie as a date where you just sit there in the dark and don't talk to each other. No. Listen. Listen unto me, ye unwashed masses. Let me tell you the way. Let me light the light for you.
The beacon.
Movie and dinner is the great date. It's always got to be, whenever I say date night with a movie, understand that what that really means in its totality is movie with dinner. Notice I didn't say dinner and a movie. You don't do dinner and a movie. That's a terrible, unless you're already in a long-term relationship, that's fine. But if you're in a new first date or an early part of your relationship date, do not do dinner in a movie because you're going to dinner, you don't know each other, you don't have a lot to talk about. Then you go to a movie and you're sitting quietly in a theater for 2 hours, then your date is done. What you do is you go to the movie first, have a shared experience, then you go to a later dinner, and now you have a point of reference to start your conversation. You have a shared experience you can talk about and discuss. That, ladies and gentlemen, that is how you do date night.
I would just like to offer a counterpoint.
There is no counterpoint.
No, a caveat
This is
to that.
infallible.
You have to make sure that the movie that you take your date to is a movie that you think your date will like.
Oh, no, completely agree.
Because I
1000%
made
agree.
a
Yes.
fatal error. This is a long time ago, but there's a film director named Penelope Spheris who made an exploitation movie called The Boys Next Door with Maxwell Caulfield and Charlie Sheen. It was about two guys that basically came from Arizona to California to Hollywood and became serial killers. The girl that I really liked after the movie was over demanded I take her home. We don't go to dinner. We do not pass go. We certainly did not collect $200. And I
This is
never
like that scene in
spoke to her.
Taxi Driver where he takes her to a porn. He's like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
I
it's a
never.
good movie."
It was like that. It might as well. She was like Sybil Shepherd. She was so horrified, and I was like, I didn't know how bad the movie was going to be. I
You're
loved
still
it.
responsible, Rob.
But John, I completely agree with your point. That is absolutely the right way to do it. You just have to vet the movie. And
Yes.
I love The Black Phone. I saw it with my girlfriend. We both loved it. I mean, really just tense horror. But like, avoid a movie, say like The Accused with Jodie
Yeah,
Foster.
that
would not
the
be a
best
good one.
No.
Wow,
Would not be a good one.
I can't even imagine how my date would have gone if we saw that.
Yeah.
All right.
Vet the film.
What's next?
Caden says, theory. Stern wasn't lying. He just had facts mixed up. He will be interviewing Doom as himself, and this will be the credit scene for Black Panther 2.
Let me read that again. Stern wasn't
Theory.
lying. He
Howard
backed
Stern.
this up. We were doing show in Black Panther 2. No. They're done. Black Panther 2 is wrapped. So that would have been done. I mean, I think you were closer to it if it's true, and I don't believe for a second that Howard Stern thing is real. Not at all. But if it were, I don't think it's a Doctor Doom movie. I think he misspoke. If it was true, which I do not believe it was, I believe he misspoke and he actually meant Fantastic Four.
Right.
And Doom would have been there. But I think the shooting on that is already done for Black Panther 2. That thing is well in the can. And reshoots have already been done as well. So I don't think that he could have been talking about that. All right, what's next?
Tim Platt says, are you going to do a Stranger Things spoiler discussion?
I believe so, yes. The problem is when. I don't know if I'll have time to do one this. Monday seems like it's too far. I feel like Monday's too late to do it. Tomorrow is too early to do it because, like I said, it's 4 hours. So and it's the holiday weekend, so I don't know if I'll look. I'm gonna aim to do one this weekend. I'm gonna aim to come in and do Stranger Things open spoiler discussion this weekend, but I can't guarantee that. It might have to wait till as late as Monday. We'll find out. All right, what's next?
A. Marcellus says, who stood out for you in Umbrella Academy Season 3? For me, it was Colin Fiore. I loved Sir Reginald's bigger role and interaction with everyone. That guy is phenomenal.
I can't answer the question because I'm only 2 episodes in.
I am too, although I do like Hargreaves a lot. I love his character.
Always loved that character.
And I hear that we get more of his mythology and backstory.
What about you, Chris? Have you been watching Umbrella Academy?
I have not.
Really?
I have nothing to add.
That's weird. 'Cause I would have guessed that you watch Umbrella
would like
Academy.
I would like it. All right.
like it.
All right.
That's
Yeah, I
good.
think
Take
you
that
really would.
recommendation.
And our friend Chris Tung, he's like one of the producers on it too. So,
nice.
All right, what's next?
Cutter Hale. Nope. Comes out 2 days before my birthday, and that's how I'm celebrating my birthday, but
Nice.
I'm also super excited for Vengeance.
Yeah, Vengeance. I don't know what it is. Like I'm watching the trailer, I'm like, this looks like a little indie film that get lucky enough to get a theatrical release. But the more I watch, it's like, you know what? This actually could be really good. I'm suddenly kind of drawn into the mystery of it. And it's BJ
if you
Novak.
watch that show, BJ Novak, he's a smart dude. I think it's going to be...
By the way, I loved him in Inglourious Bastards. I thought he was great in Inglourious Bastards. All right, what's next?
David Crabtree, our friend David Crabtree, who's actually done some great fan art of you and I. David Crabtree says, John, I'll take your Cameron Diaz in The Mask, and I will raise you Tia Carrere in True Lies. Regardless, we all win. By the way, both of these films were released just 2 weeks apart in July of 1994.
Wow, I didn't even realize that. First of all, True Lies, I don't know if you know this, is my all-time favorite action film. It's my number one favorite action film. Tia Carrere in that. I mean, I'll still put Cameron Diaz a little bit higher. But yeah, when she's dancing like with Arnold in it and all that kind, like she is so ridiculously beautiful. It's
They are
crazy.
screening a print of True Lies in a couple weeks at Quentin Tarantino's New Beverly Cinema.
I might have to go check that out. All right, what's next?
Joseph Michael says, hey, Chris, I remember seeing you at the Tucson Film Festival in 2018. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well. Here I am.
What is this? I'm not even familiar with the festival. Is this when you go to a lot?
No, it's run by a guy named Herb Stratford, and I was at the Tucson Film Festival. It was a blast.
By the way,
I did a couple panels there.
you've got a documentary called Attack of the Dock.
Yes.
Speaking of film festival stuff like that, and I know you haven't put the finishing touches on it yet, but are you planning to festival that movie?
I don't know that I will. I know that we're going to play some theatrical dates and probably some conventions, but Attack of the Dock is a documentary about G4 TV and Attack of the Show, the kind of the rise and fall of the network. And we're going to be screening it actually during San Diego Comic-Con. So
Very exciting stuff.
if you follow me on social media, you'll get the details.
All right, what's next?
Tyler Pfeiffer says, how was Korg?
Oh, I liked Korg.
Yeah.
I did. I mean, they retconned something about Korg. If you remember some of his dialogue from Thor Ragnarok, they retconned a fact about him. Other than that, he was actually pretty delightful.
He was great. He's great comedic relief. He's awesome.
Yeah.
Godwin OC sends in a super chat.
Thank you, Godwin.
Andy sends a super chat and says, it's nice to see Rob reunite with what is clearly his twin brother, Chris. Laugh out loud.
Here we are.
I could see
True.
some
Twins.
familial resemblance, actually.
What can I say? Well, I've known you for like 30 years. You know,
Yeah, true. Since
My
the 90s.
sister, my sister sent me a stack of all the Sci-Fi Universe magazines.
Wow.
Came in the mail. I'm like, that you started.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that was back in '94.
Oh my God. Yeah. And been going to Comic-Con since the 90s.
Yep. Yep.
All right,
Yep.
what's next?
Mike's Movie Madness says, saw The Black Phone yesterday and such a great, intense horror film. Really great scares and amazing performances from not just Handsome Hawk, but the young actors who played the siblings. One of two.
We might have to get back to it. I scrolled way up and couldn't
All
find
right,
it.
Mike. Well, I think you're correct.
Actually, Chris, have you had a chance to see Black Phone yet?
Yeah, twice. It's fantastic.
Oh, I'm glad you liked
I
it.
think Scott Derrickson just knocked it out of the park. I think it's particularly frightening because it's something that's based in reality. I mean, kids are abducted and these kinds of things happen in a horrific way. When I was a kid growing up in Michigan, there was the Oakland County child killer, which was basically the reason that people lock their doors and don't let kids play after dark is because of that case. And there was a child that was abducted blocks from where I used to live in Royal
Wow.
Oak, Michigan. It was frightening at the time, and this brought back all those memories. I think that Scott just did an incredible job with it. Ethan Hawke and the super chat mentioned the siblings were fantastic.
Yeah.
They both break down and cry in it, and just being a father to young kids, that's not acting. Those kids, those were real tears. It's the best young actor performances I think I've seen since something like Dazed and Confused, which it's a while ago, but just like, yeah, Black Phone, really fantastic. Fantastic.
All right, what's next?
Alan Ling says, hey, John and crew. Ray, thank you for the kind words about my depression on Monday.
Oh.
John, continuing off from Monday, do you fear for any other changes in Disney under Chapek's leadership?
My big fear, and I say fear, right? It's not realized, manifest future. It's my fear. My fear is not about anything he's going to do moving forward. My biggest problem with his leadership of Disney up till now has not been the way he botched the Scarlett Johansson stuff or any of the political stuff or anything like that. My biggest problem has been his philosophy, which was reflected in his structural changes at Disney, stripping the power away from creatives and giving the power to business people, which was the fundamental opposite and antithesis of what Bob Iger's ultimate strategy was, which was give the creators the responsibility to create iconic, profitable content for us, and then give them the authority to actually do it. And we've already started to see ways that Kevin Feige no longer has the control he used to have over Marvel. That, right or wrong, or good or bad, that Kathy Kennedy no longer has the type of control, whatever she had over Lucasfilm. The individual things. That's where my big fear is. My big fear, what I said when we first discussed this issue like over a year ago, was that you're not going to see the immediate effects of this for a number of years. It's going to take years for us to see the real effects of this. So my big fear about Bob, and again, it's fear, it's not absolute. My big fear about Bob Chapek's leadership, again, is not about any other mistakes he'll make. It's about the cliff we're driving towards because he no longer lets the creative people be in charge. And so we'll see how that works out. Hopefully I'm wrong. Fingers crossed. All right, what's next?
Raymond Verrata says, despite actresses leaving Hollywood, some of them have gone into business. Cameron Diaz has a wine venture. Jessica Alba is into household goods, and Jamie Gertz is a principal owner of the Atlanta Hawks.
Yeah, I actually saw a special recently about like actors who like diversified themselves and used their positions of celebrity to create businesses and get things going. And then that's kind of basically all they do now. And good on them. That's intelligent. That's smart. Diversify the portfolio a bit. Give yourself another career after you're done this one. I think it's a great idea.
Ben Rayner says, better Bill Pullman movies character. President from Independence Day or Lone Star. I'll also throw in the dad from Casper.
No, that's obvious.
Laugh
That's
out
Lone
loud.
Star. There's no other discussion. There's Lone Star. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's a great speech. He gives it at the end of Independence. This is our Independence. Yeah, that's great. But Lone Star. Come on, I don't know. Chris, best Bill Pullman character.
I don't know. I like Independence Day. I think that's an iconic speech, and
It is an iconic speech.
So, but that's a very close. That's close.
Not if we jam them.
Yeah, I think I gotta go with Independence Day only because I'm a huge Independence Day fan. And I love that movie. It's the best movie ever made about giant spaceships blowing shit up.
All right, you can't argue with that. All right, I'm going to make that a poll. So go ahead, let's move on to the next question.
Fifi says, very excited for the new Thor movie. Well, Chris, how would you rank it against Ragnarok?
Oh wow.
Yeah, I'm struggling with that too. I personally don't think it's quite as good as Ragnarok myself. But
that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
It's not quite as good as Ragnarok. I think Ragnarok, I like that it had this sort of, I think Loki, was so good in Ragnarok, and that dynamic, that brotherly dynamic, and also the clear Flash Gordon influence, which I thought just really worked. Also the Hulk. Ragnarok, I'm going to say, beats it out for me now that I've been forced to think about it. So
there's no Loki in this movie?
You can't say anything.
I'm not going to say anything.
All right.
Look at Rob.
Yeah, no, Rob.
What's next?
Just kidding.
Slice of brie. Getting my tissues ready for tonight. I guess meaning Stranger Things.
Yeah, I'm for the boys. And are those happy
I get my
tissues or
tissues ready
sad
for the
tissues?
boys, but it's not because I'm crying.
It's going to take a dirty turn.
Come on.
All right, what's
Hero
next?
gasm.
Jermaine King says, Chris Gore, before my Robservation days, you helped influence my love of film and physical media during your Attack of the Show days. I just wanted to say thank you.
Well, thank you. I mean, for the people who still buy Blu-rays and DVDs, and I think that includes probably everybody in this room.
Nope.
No,
It
really?
includes everybody at that table.
Okay, cool. At this table, my twin brother, we still get the Blu-rays. But yeah, and if I could throw out a little recommendation, sticking with that, RRR is a movie that's playing on Netflix that cannot recommend enough. It's directed by a guy named S.S. Rajamouli, which is an Indian director, and it's a Tollywood movie, not a Bollywood movie. 3-hour action epic, and every time this guy gets interviewed by a U.S. journalist, they always ask him, so when are you doing a Marvel movie? Because to me, this movie, it's like a better Hollywood movie than Hollywood is making these days.
Yeah.
Cannot recommend it enough. I saw it 4 times in the theater. If it comes out on physical media, I plan to get it, but it's now currently playing on Netflix. So once you wrap up Stranger Things season 4, check out RRR.
But it's not playing on Netflix in its original language.
That's right. It's weird.
It's very weird.
But I
And-
just put on the subtitles anyway. It doesn't really necessarily.
Right. But you can, it doesn't, it's, anyway.
Yeah, no, it
It's-
did affect it for me because when I saw it in the theater, it was a different
Yeah.
language. Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Jermaine King. Oh, that's where I already read that. Scroll down a little bit. Max Fisher. Star Wars Celebration Europe tickets went on sale today. Did you get yours? Are you going?
I think we decided that we are going to go, but now it's going to become a question of whether we can get tickets because I haven't got them yet, and they might be sold out already. If we can get tickets, I think we're going to go. I think as a crew, we're going to go to Star Wars Celebration in London. I've always wanted to go to London. I've never been to London. We got a lot of viewers of the John Campea Show in
dude.
London. So, but we'll have to wait and see if we can actually get tickets. All right, what's next?
We should stay at the St. Martin's Lane Hotel. The J. Shrey Way says, Rob, have you ever seen Halloween 3?
What?
Amazing score. Come on, man. I saw Halloween 3 opening night. I own Halloween 3 in 4K.
Took a date to Halloween.
Connell
3.
Cochran is a
date to
hero
Halloween.
of mine. And by the way, that is one of Carpenter's great scores. The opening theme.
He must
It's
be
great.
new.
It's also one of Rob's tissue movies. He brings tissue dolls.
Well, it does. I have to say, it does have one of the most disturbing things I've ever seen in a movie, where a woman in bed is playing with something. She's tampering with something, and something happens to her face, and it's horrifying.
All right,
And great at the same time.
what's next?
Al Renshaw says Godzilla King of the Monsters was great. Yes, Al, it was awesome.
Hey, listen, that's the beautiful thing about the subjectivity of movies. No matter how shitty it is, you can still like it. I mean, no, listen, obviously there are people who enjoy that film. I'm glad that they do. Rob does. I wanted to love it. You guys know I wanted to like that movie. I thought it was incredibly disappointing. But that's the great thing. We all have different experiences with these movies. All right, what's next?
I'll buy you a drink one day. Stubble McShave says, I could just sit and watch Rob and Chris talk about obscure independent movies and old sci-fi shows for hours on end. Come on, guys. Make it happen.
Yeah, we could do a whole hour on Krull.
So I got to teach Chris to get a little closer to his mic.
Oh,
when
sorry.
he speaks.
Krull. Yeah, we could do
I
a whole
remember
hour on
Krull.
Krull.
The Crystal
Yeah.
Spider.
Liam Neeson's in that.
Crawl like forever ruined me as I had to watch that that guy get slowly crushed as the wall closed in on him.
Yeah.
And as a kid, I was just like, they just walked away.
By the way, Krull has one of the great sci-fi weapons, the glaive.
The glaive is one. I don't know how many times as a kid I would take like tin metal and try to bend it to make my own version of the glaive.
It's so good.
Awesome.
Such a great weapon. The glaive is great.
All right, what's next?
Walid Haji says, please tell me the CGI wasn't as bad as the trailer.
I thought the CGI was quite good. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's the best CGI I've ever seen, but the job of CGI is just to help you tell the story and fit in. And I didn't know
It was fine. It didn't stand out as being poor to me. I thought it was good. And the goats.
The goats.
The goats
I
are
love the
pretty
goats.
funny. It's a dumb gag, but it just works every time.
By the way, Celestials in this movie. And that's not a spoiler because they actually did pop up
they're
in
in
one
the
of the trailers.
trailers.
Yeah. But yeah, the Celestials pop up. All right, what's next?
Anubis Genocide. Oh, I already read that
read
one.
that.
We do part 3? Okay.
Yeah. Darth Grant says, speaking of the volume stage, was its use obvious or noticeable in Love and Thunder?
Let's put it this way. When it was brought up initially earlier in the show, I said, did they use the volume in this? So that kind of answers your question because it certainly didn't stand out to me at all in any scenes.
A couple times it stood out to me, especially in that opening scene, but it didn't bother me. I just feel like this is a tool filmmakers are just beginning to learn to use, and that's fine. We've seen some successful, and I think in Kenobi, I think for me felt a little claustrophobic, so and dark, but that's a whole other conversation. So I think it's it stood out a couple times, but I think if you're noticing that, I think that's a problem. So I was really surprised at the really tight running time, hour 59 with credits.
Yeah.
For Thor: Love and Thunder.
I liked it.
I like that too.
There's just too, like, longer there's a misconception that longer equals better.
Right.
Well, longer equals better if your particular story you're telling requires it. When it doesn't, then you're just being longer for the sake of being longer and because you're not a good enough director to know you should edit some of your stuff out. One of the movies I go to that I really liked, Elvis. I really like Elvis a lot.
Yeah.
But they needed to ice about 20 minutes out of that movie. But so, I mean, and that's the thing. But I think you're absolutely right, Chris. I think the runtime of this movie was like perfect for it.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Josh Becker says, my top 5 movies of the year so far. 1, Batman. 2, Top Gun. 3, Everything Everywhere All at Once. 4, Cha-Cha Real Smooth, which I haven't watched yet but want to. 5, Elvis. Elvis is such a beautiful film this year.
So it's really good. Again, my top 3 still remains, and it has for a while. So I'm waiting for a film to come along and move it up. Number 1 is still Everything Everywhere All at Once for me. Number 2 is The Batman. Number 3 is The Northman. So that's my top 3. Do you have a 3 favorite right now?
I would put Maverick above The Northman for me, only because The Northman I liked. I didn't love it as much as I wanted to. So
You got a couple of favorites this year?
I got some favorites.
And
I would say
too.
Top Gun, Northman, RRR, Rob, as you said. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, I have issues with, but I think it's the better multiverse movie, just personally. That's, again, another discussion. But yeah, I thought, and Black Phone, I would actually probably just
So
put
good.
at least on a list of, like, not ranking them, but just like these are the ones that have stood out to me. Black Phone is just really amazing.
All right, we're running short on time, so let's get through these next bunch as quick as we can.
Amin says, I don't think I ever heard your proper thoughts on Apple TV's Foundation. I think it's one of the best sci-fi shows released in the past few years. Can't wait for season 2. Have you guys read the books?
I never read the books. I will say this: what do they call the three kings? What do they call them again? They're called Empire. Empire.
Yeah.
The whole mythology of Empire and the way the continuity of that's amazing. The mythology of the show is fantastic. I do find it a bit disjointed. Sometimes they don't really do things in a satisfying way as a viewer. But I watched the whole season I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to the next season. I think it's quite good, but I think it's got wrinkles it needs to iron out and basically how they lay it all out. But the base mythology, though, of Empire, I love that part. What did you think of Foundation?
You know, it's obviously it was one of the foundational science fiction book series I read, the trilogy I got from the Sci-Fi Book Club when I was 10, which I loved. But it's an incredibly daunting adaptation, and the show does not necessarily reflect the books, but I like the show. I thought it was really, I mean, as far as great big budget sci-fi, it's pretty beautiful. It's pretty amazing. And I thought it had a compelling narrative. And I do agree with you. The whole Empire mythology was great. I like seeing the character of Harry Seldon brought to life on screen.
Yeah.
I mean, I never thought I'd see that. And I liked it. Did you watch it?
I have not watched Foundation
Again,
yet.
that's another one I think you would like.
I think I would like it just from seeing the trailer, but like one of the characters in Clerks, I wasn't supposed to be here today. John just invited me last minute, and here I am.
All right, what's next?
Ja'Cory Robertson says, I'm not a Taika fan. I keep trying, but my plan for Thor is to take an edible and try and get through this movie because it's MCU, so I'm going to see it. I hated Ragnarok, and I don't have high hopes for this one.
Look, see, that's the thing, though. With any movie, it doesn't matter how many people love a certain movie, it may not work for you. And it doesn't matter how many people hate a movie, it may completely press the right buttons for you. And there's nothing wrong with that. Taika Waititi is a fucking genius. But that just means that his sensibilities and his storytelling approaches really resonate with me, and they work on a really great balance of mixing in that wild humor with deeper things. Jojo Rabbit is one of the greatest examples of his storytelling prowess. But that doesn't necessarily mean it has to work for you, and it doesn't mean it's going to work for you. So I would honestly say this: if you've watched enough of his stuff, if you've seen What We Do in the Shadows, and Thor Ragnarok and Jojo Rabbit, and you can just already know that his movies just aren't for you, I would say take a pass.
Yeah, just skip it.
I would say skip it.
I skipped Ant-Man 2. I'm fine. No, I'm being serious. I
loved Ant-Man 2.
I liked
Ant-Man
the
and the
first
Wasp.
Ant-Man, but Ant-Man 2 just it didn't look like it was for me, so I skipped
You're
it.
actually
Would you
not
like to
fine.
borrow my
That's-
4K?
No, jeez.
That's why we're invaded by ants right now, man.
I know. That's what it is.
All right, what's next?
Drew Paxton sends in a super chat. Thanks, Drew. Salamander Man says Strickland. versus...
Yep.
Who you
By
got,
the
John?
way, big card this weekend. Big card. Izzy's defending. We had Holloway versus Volk. Two big title fight. It's big. Dennis and I. Dennis was with us last night. Dennis Zen was with us last night. We were watching Thor, and we're going over the card this week. Can't wait. It's gonna be great. All right, what's next?
What was that you just said? I didn't understand a word of it.
Yeah, probably not a lot of people did.
Rafael Castillo says Night and Day is an enjoyable little action comedy with Tom Cruise and Cameron Diaz that I quite enjoyed. I agree.
That is one, honestly, other than Valkyrie, I think that is actually one of Tom Cruise's most underrated films.
And the most forgotten Tom Cruise movie.
Easily the most forgotten one.
Even more than American Made, which I like. Mr. Holbrook says, can you say if Thor clearly lays out the direction of the MCU?
It doesn't, nor should it. Why should any one movie come out and clearly lay out the direction of the MCU?
Well,
It lays out a direction for Thor.
right. Yeah. Thor's story, but in terms of where the MCU is going, no. And I think that's been a problem because the lead up to Thanos was so huge, and getting the teases of that, and I feel like this is why I think Kevin Feige just straight up just said, look, we're going to let you know where things are going very, very soon. Please stick with us. I think it needs to have an overall arc leading to something, and there's no clue unless I missed it.
You know, here you're right. It doesn't.
Yeah.
I didn't see any clues in there, and I'm perfectly okay with that. I go to a movie to see a good movie, and whether like you tell me 8 individual standalone movies that are wonderful, fantastic, engaging, I'm on board. My problem with Phase 4 has not been like, listen, if you've given us the exact same movies and TV shows in Phase 4, but dripped in there were hints of a bigger story, doesn't make those movies or shows any better to me or any more enjoyable. So I'm perfectly okay that they haven't really, but here's what Kevin Feige is going to do. Once it starts to become clear where the MCU is going, we're going to look back at all these shows and series and go, oh, there it was. It was right there in front of us the whole time. Like whether that's something to do with the Eternal bracelets, the 10 rings, and the bangle in Ms. Marvel, whether it has to do with I don't know anything else. I just have a feeling that once they start to lay it out, we're going to look at these shows in hindsight and go, oh, it was right there. But I don't know. We'll see though, because I hear a lot of people, Chris, have the same thoughts as you. It's like you can really feel, because you're right. In all phase 1, 2, and 3, that was always sprinkled throughout, even in the more individual standalone movies, and that's been absent here. But for me, that hasn't been an issue.
John, I think you cracked it. I mean, with Infinity Stones, it was stones. Now it's bangles and fashion accessories.
Fashion.
Is the future of the MCU.
But
It's
also,
coming.
when Iron Man started, they even were sprinkling in the idea that the Avengers were coming.
Yes.
The Avengers initiative from that post-credit scene. And this, to me, this has to do, they've got the Celestials, they've got the Egyptian gods, they've got the Jinns, they've got all these different, the cosmology of the Marvel Universe is expanding.
They have multiple dimensions, they got overlaid,
there's
overlaid
there's
realities.
Something big is coming.
Yeah. All right, what's next?
Who knows?
This was the second part we didn't get to.
Oh, Mike's Movie Madness, the second part. Number 2, something was amazing as well, especially the little girl who gave a performance years ahead of her league.
With the black phone.
That was the
Black phone. Yeah. She was amazing.
And by the way, we often mention Handsome Hawk in this. He's great in this movie. Ethan Hawke is really, really good and ridiculously like poor Erin. She was in fucking tears.
Yeah.
She was being so disturbed by Ethan Hawke's performance. Like, he's just that good.
She wasn't happy.
All right. What's
She
next?
wasn't happy.
Juan Ponce says, John, what's your half the year favorite movies of this year so far? My top 3 are Everything Everywhere, Top Gun, and Batman.
Well, like I already said, my number 1 is Everything Everywhere. Number 2 is The Batman. Number 3 is The Northman. I like Top Gun very much. I do. It's a great experience in a movie theater. It's not as strong. It's not exactly Shakespeare. But, I mean, it is what it is, and I really enjoyed it, too. Black Phone is another one that would be right up there. Thor Ragnarok is one I've really enjoyed, or Thor Love and Thunder is one I've really enjoyed. But, yeah, those are my top 3.
James Germain says, hey, John, so there it is, Superman and... wait. Hey, John.
Lois.
Yeah, there it is, Superman, right. Superman and
is.
Lois
Superman and Lois are
officially not
part.
of the Arrowverse. That Diggle is a new one and not from the Arrowverse. Do you think?
Okay, so here's a quick story. I loathe what the Arrowverse did to Superman. The way they use Superman in the Supergirl
You taught
show.
me a word. Because
Jobber.
Yeah.
They simply, jobber is a wrestling term. A jobber is a guy in professional wrestling who's brought in to wrestle a star and to just get the shit beat out of him to make the star look good. We see comic book shows and movies do this to some characters sometimes, and that's okay. You do not job. If you're in the DC universe, you do not job Batman, you do not job Wonder Woman, and you do not job Superman. And the only reason they brought Superman into that Supergirl show was so he could constantly be humiliated. And literally have Superman say to Supergirl, Earth doesn't need me, Kara. You are the Earth's hero. And to have them fight and her beat him constantly and all that kind of stuff. It was like, you don't do that to Superman. So when the new show Superman and Lois started, I decided to check it out. And I was surprised by how much I liked it. Like really surprised how much I liked it. And I really was enjoying the fact that it seemed to not be connected to the Arrowverse. It would seem to be in its own standalone universe. This is not the same Superman, despite the fact it's the same actor. This is not the same Superman that they jobbed to Supergirl. And then, I think it was episode 11 or 12, Diggle showed up. And I love Diggle the character, I do, in Arrow. But Diggle the character showed up, and immediately a switch went off in my brain. And my brain simply was not allowing me to enjoy the show anymore. Because now it was that same jobber Superman. And I'm not saying that's fair, and I'm not saying that's right, but that is what it is. A switch went off my head. I'm like, oh, I'm now thoroughly uninterested in this show now. And I dished on it. And then all of a sudden the other day, I started getting this flood of tweets from people saying, John, they just established, I think they're in season 2 now. They just established that this is not the same reality as the Arrowverse. And the Arrowverse doesn't exist in this world. This is a completely different Superman. So now I'm like, all right, I might have to go back and start watching it again now. So we'll see, but I'm very happy to hear that news. Okay, what's next?
Braden Clark says, in the pantheon of superhero movies, how crazy is it that the character of Thor has 4, potentially 5 movies?
It's not all that crazy at all. I mean, look at the character. Look at the very fact that he is both seen as an Earth superhero and a celestial hero. The fact that they've evolved the character so much from the first time he was in Kenneth Branagh's, the second most underrated comic book film of all time, Kenneth Branagh's Thor, to where he was in Ragnarok and now Thor Love and Thunder. The fact that he's as popular as he is, and the fact that you have a guy who just owns the character so much. It's really not all that crazy.
And technically, you got to add 4 more films to that because he has 4 Avengers movies he's in.
Yeah, and he's got more coming. By the way, I saw a few people write in the live chat say, well, wait a minute, John, like Superman's lost in fights before. Losing is not jobbing. Jobbing is specifically when you are there for no other reason than to make somebody else look good. Like if Superman and Batman fight each other and Batman wins a fight, that's not a job. That's 2 of the titans in the canons of comic book history. That can happen. If Wonder Woman fights, I don't know, some supremely powerful character in the DCEU, right? And they fight and battle and have a good fight and good battle, and Wonder Woman just doesn't happen to prevail. Wonder Woman wasn't just there to make the other character look good. If anything, the loss is there to further Wonder Woman's story. In Supergirl, Superman's exclusive reason for being there was to be a jobber. He was only there to make Kara look better. And that is being a jobber. And that's different than just losing a fight once in a while. Anyway, I've gone on long enough, but sorry, I get kind of hot under the collar when this topic comes up. So anyway, all right, what's next?
Andy says they're doing a Godzilla vs. Kong 2. No, they're doing Kong vs. Godzilla to rectify their mistake of not adding Kong begging Godzilla, save Mothra.
Why did you say that name? By the way, one of my favorite videos I've ever made editorially was why the Martha scene was so misunderstood. I think people misunderstand that, the Martha, why do you save that name? It wasn't executed right, and so it's Zack Snyder's fault people misinterpret it. But I think it is a misinterpreted scene when you actually understand what's going on in that scene. And it's a reflection of Bruce now recognizing the humanity in Clark more than it is, wait a minute, your mom is the same name as my mom? Like it was different. Anyway, go look at my video on it. It's called Defending the Martha Scene. It's the video I have up. It's done years ago. It's called Defending the Martha Scene. Go check it out.
Jay says, do you guys think, a $20 super chat.
Oh, thank you, Jay.
Thank you, Jay. Do you guys think Star Trek Season 4 Part 1 is a Star Trek? Stranger Things. I'm sorry.
Don't use acronyms,
I'm sorry. Don't use those. I know. Do you guys think Stranger Things Season 4 Part 1 is as scary as it is because England is now part of the cast? That's Robert Englund. Because he worked so many years with Wes Craven that maybe he provided tips to the showrunners on how to ramp up the scary?
0% chance.
Yeah.
0%. No, Robert Englund had nothing to do with why. I mean, he's very good. The role he's got is a pretty cool role, small as it is. But no, the answer to that question is absolutely
This show was scary from Season 1.
Yeah, and they've gotten better. Like they learn as they move along, and they've gotten better. But I don't know, Rob. Look, I'll be honest with you. I don't think Wes Craven's all that great. What?
It depends.
I mean, he's hit and miss. He has some great stuff. It's not like he is the de facto master of all things horror, and anybody who just happened to be around him can now carry that glory to other filmmakers as well. So I would say no. I don't think Robert Englund being there had anything to do with it.
No, I mean, they're influenced. The Duffer Brothers are influenced by so many different things.
And by the way, don't forget, the scripts for the seasons were done before the first day that Robert Englund showed up to shoot a scene. So, all right, what's next?
Mega Movies says, Rob, there's one indie film in July. Marcel the Shell with Shoes On gets this movie, by the way, looks delightful. Marcel the Shell with Shoes On gets a wide release on July 1st, I believe, or in July, I believe. Have you guys seen this movie yet? I have not seen it. I've seen the trailer. Have you seen it?
Have you seen it?
I've seen it. It's fantastic. Jenny Slate is hysterical as the voice of Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. And it's based on a YouTube video that blew up and went viral, I think back in 2010, 2012, around that era. So you can see the original short. And I used to do stop motion animation as a kid. It was like my first foray into filmmaking. So it's really fun. It's existential. And it's not like, it's a movie that is not made for kids. it's a movie kids will love. So in a sense that like, and it's an A24 film, and A24 has such eclectic taste. But it's not a family movie, but if you take kids to see it, they will love it. And as an adult, if you see it, there's so much more going on about life. It's a very like existential journey about family, and it's heartfelt and hysterically funny and weird because Marcel becomes a sensation on Instagram and social media and becomes like a star. It's this little stop motion animated shell. It's a great movie. It's also 90 minutes, so the right length. I think right length. We talked about Thor being,
Ray likes that.
Comedies, 90 minutes, dramas, or action, make it 2 hours. When things start to slide to like, oh, it's 220, it's 240. It's not. End it. Save it for the deleted scenes. But yeah, Marcel, the show is Shoes On. Strong recommendation. I think you both would love it, actually.
By the way, just quickly, had about 1,000 people respond and put up a poll asking Bill Pullman's ID4 or Lone Star. 59% of people agree with you guys, ID4. 41% agree with me about Lone Star. Okay, what's next?
Dwayne Cinema says, speaking of Cameron Diaz, just watched Night and Day.
Yeah, we were just talking about that. One of the more underrated Tom Cruise movies.
Yep.
I thought they were really good together in that.
Too.
All right, what's
Did
next?
James Mangold direct that?
Oh, you know what? You might be right.
I think he might. I'm not sure. Stub McShave says, more Stranger Things hype with the spaced out release.
I mean, again, yes, Netflix is going to see that. Say, people are talking about Stranger Things far longer than in any season they've ever done. You're going to see them definitely do at least 2 parts again next season, maybe even 3, because they'll see the benefits of this. All right, what's next?
I think it's also smart from a merch perspective because, like, if you go into certain stores and you look for any Stranger Things merch, it's gone because it was out
Hellfire
for
Club
like
shirts.
a week.
I'm seeing those.
So
Oh, I would like to get one of those.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Oas Gadre says, the boys, game day.
Game day! I cannot wait. I cannot wait to watch this a little bit later. You know what the best thing about it is that unlike a lot of other shows that open at midnight, they will drop this thing at like 7 p.m., which is great. I love that.
Great.
All right, what's next?
Hooded Robin sends in a super chat and says, can you define a 50-50 shot? The most memorable way I've seen a Star Destroyer shot is by Edwards in Rogue One during the Death Star construction. A 50-50 shot is just like, imagine if you have 2 faces facing each other like this. It's a 50-50 shot that's actually looking at something sideways. So that would be a side angle of a Star Destroyer going straight across the screen. Not a great angle for what is a beautiful starship.
Thank you for teaching us, Rob.
Thank you. There you go. Tim Platt says, which series should I binge next? Schitt's Creek or Ted Lasso? Oh, John.
Oh, fuck. That's
a tough one.
You know what?
That's Sophie's choice
I
right there.
love Ted Lasso. You guys have heard me gush about this show. Schitt's Creek is better. I think Schitt's Creek, as far as comedies go, is a top 5 of all time. It's that good. There's a reason it became the first project in Emmy history that literally swept every major category. At the Emmys, it won Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Supporting Actor, Best Supporting Actress, Best Writer, Best Director, Best Series. No show's ever done that in history. And there's a reason for it. I know a lot of you guys never checked out Schitt's Creek. I just think it's one of the greatest things of all time. Ted Lasso is awesome, though. But yeah, do Schitt's Creek first. All right, what's next?
Josie Reviews says, you saw Thor 4, huh? Well, John, good for you.
Yeah, not Bale's one of Bale's finer moments, but whatever. Everybody has a bad day. Come on. All right, what's next?
Stupid Heads
I love
says,
that name.
I watched The Mist for the first time this weekend, and it's got to be the most brutal ending to any horror movie I've ever seen. I was shook.
There, a buddy of ours, Sam Witwer's in that movie.
Mist.
Yes, one of the most ball punch endings. Like you can't help but be devastated at the end of that movie.
I have to say that was the 4th of Frank Darabont's Stephen King adaptations, the first being his movie, The Woman in the Room, and he changed the ending. That is not the ending that was in the book.
That's right, but it was damn
Brutal.
effective.
Brutal.
What did you think about it, Chris?
Same. It's just horrifying. So, yeah.
I like the
gut
movie,
punch.
though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so did I.
good
I like it too. All right, what's next?
Fredo Valcos says, hey, John, are you going to be watching the press conference today for the UFC? And also, I got my tickets for Thor and can't wait. Dude, I'm hoping for Loki.
I will tell you this. I do not watch pre-fight press conferences. I just find them boring. I don't care. I watch the fights. That's it.
Unless it's one of the Diaz brothers. Those are the ones you gotta see.
Yeah, because then you don't know what the hell might happen.
yeah,
Yeah,
well,
maybe I'll watch a
Scarface,
Diaz Brothers
Diaz
one,
Brothers.
but other than that, as far as Loki, I can't say anything. All right, what's next?
Luke. Chris was a huge fan of DV Doomsday back in the day. Long live physical media.
I agree. Physical media. I know some are against it, but those sitting at this table are much in favor of
And
physical
right
media.
here, too.
Yeah, exactly.
True.
So there you
Yeah,
go.
What was the
Right?
first thing I said to you? Like, it wasn't even, hey, Chris. It was like, TV
That's
Doomsday.
I appreciate it. So yeah, thank you. Thank you for that.
All right, what's next?
Cutter Hale says, Rob, I finally saw Smoking Aces, and you were right. The movie is insane, but awesome. Chris Pine is crazy. He's great in that. Highly recommend the movie. I'm glad you dug it. I really like Smoking Aces, and the recent 4K disc is quite the upgrade.
I got to admit, I didn't love that movie.
Didn't love it?
And I was really, it would appeal to me because it looked like a Guy Ritchie kind of, it looked like a Lock, Stock, right? Or a Snatch
It
kind
was
of
a
movie.
little goofier than that.
Yeah, and I mean, it's got some great performances. The guy from Entourage, why am I forgetting the guy's name? The lead of Smoking Aces.
And why am I drawing a blank on that?
Oh yeah, he played Ari Gold.
Yeah, he played Ari. What?
Yeah, Jeremy Piven.
Jeremy Piven. Ryan Reynolds is
Yeah.
in it. I mean, he's got a great cast. It didn't quite click for me though, to be honest with you. But I know a lot of people who really love that movie.
Yeah, I'm a fan. It's not the greatest movie in the world. You know, I would agree with your assessment.
All right, what's next?
We also missed the Richard here.
The Richard sends in a super chat.
Oh, thank you, the
Thanks,
Richard, just to be supportive. Thank you.
The Richard, waiting for your show, dude. Chuck the Mystery sends in a super chat and says, hey, John, I know from the old G4 days that Chris used to be a big proponent of physical media. Chris, are you still a believer like Rob?
100%. 100%. I got the Batman in 4K. So yeah, of course. And I'm waiting for RRR in 4K. And I'll pick up like weird, rare stuff. I mean, it's interesting because Rob, we've been both collecting physical media for a long time. There's no guarantee that when a new format comes along, that certain movies will be preserved.
Right.
They're these ones that, and sometimes they don't even get distribution. And so it's interesting. I even still have kept some VHSs. So yeah, physical media. And also I don't like the idea that movies can be changed based on what's in the current political climate. I'm very much against that. So, you know, just sort of catering to people's sensitivities. It's like, look, movie was made at that time. That's what it was. Deal with it, you know. But yeah, I love physical media. It's not going away for people like me. So
No.
Yeah.
All right,
Me
what's
neither.
next?
Josh Becker says, Kevin Durant just requested a trade out of Nets.
No, seriously?
Yeah, they're saying, a couple of people in the chat are saying his destinations are Miami, which would be deadly, or Phoenix, which would be deadly. Anywhere, if he goes to either one of those teams, they're automatically probably in the at least the.
They're in the conversation.
Yeah.
But I will say this. I mean, listen, I really do like Kevin Durant. Like his "You the Real MVP" speech is like one of the greatest sports. When he won MVP and he started talking about his mom, that's one of the most beautiful moments in sports history. I really like him. But the only time he was ever able to win a ring was when he went to the team that was already the best team in the league. That's the only time he's been able to win a ring. And I don't believe that he can lead a team to a ring. But that's just me, but I really do like the guy. But still, I'm shocked. I really thought he was going to stick around in New Jersey. All right, what's next?
Dwayne Cinema sends in a super chat. Thanks,
Thank you, Dwayne.
D Wild says, how do gifted memberships work exactly?
Basically, a member can buy like 5, 10, 20, whatever gifted memberships. And then those memberships are just randomly given to other people in the live chat.
I honestly think it's given to the next people who actually chat underneath it, because that's what
might be that.
Yeah,
Might be that.
or
but
it could be random too.
Yeah, you don't pick who gets the memberships.
Yeah.
You just buy random memberships, and then people who are in the chat become beneficiaries of that, which makes it even more generous.
Yeah.
That like you would just do that for your other fellow viewers who are watching. That's really, really cool. So thank you for that, and good question. All right, what's next?
The Robo Producer says, The Flash Season 8, that is all. # Reverse Flash.
I you know me,
The finale happened.
at the end of the day, I will look back on the Flash show and think that was a show I quite enjoyed, but I have tapped out. Like I haven't watched the last year and a half of it. I don't plan on going back. I mean, last time I really enjoyed it was when Aaron was in it. So I'm kind of tapped out of the show. All right, what's next?
My buddy Eric Wallace did write the finale
right,
this
yeah.
season, though. Godwin Orsi says Superman and Lois isn't in the Arrowverse anymore.
Yeah, we touched on this a little bit earlier. I was very excited to hear that. I think I'm going to have to go back and start watching the show again. All right, what's next?
Nerd on Film says, hey, John and crew, if you
What
haven't...
about Jay?
Oh, well, Jay, I missed Jay. One of two, sorry. Jay says, one of my favorite movies is No Country for Old Men.
Fantastic.
I have a love-hate relationship with that film. My gripe is with the climax of the film because they did...
Oh, is it going to be cliffhanger? Here
No,
we go.
no,
There it is. They did not show what happened at the hotel.
I know.
Instead, they return and show the aftermath. It was said this omission was because that was how it happened. Happened in the book. If this is true, do you think it was the right thing to do?
No, I like you, Jay. I love this movie.
I do too.
But I remember coming out of it for the first time. In my first review of the movie, I said, that was a mistake. That we become invested in certain characters, and we became invested in the Brolin character, to then not be given that resolution for the character and just be told about it. Like, wait a minute. Like, I get it. You can say that happens in the book. There's a word. It's called adaptation. It's got to happen when you're translating from one medium to the next. Because something works one way in one medium does not mean it works in another medium. So I love this movie. Won an Academy Award for Javier Bardem.
Yeah.
I mean, really put him on the map for people. He's one of the greats out there, but that I believe was a mistake. What do you think?
You know, I think you might be right because we're conditioned to have that cathartic closure. You know, I thought it was kind of an interesting choice.
I agree. It was an interesting
You know?
choice. But as an audience member, I'm like, wait a minute, you've been asking me to become invested in this character. You've been asking me to get emotionally attached to this character. And if something tragic happens to them, okay. But to not even allow me to be present when that happens. I don't know, Chris, you got a thought on that?
No, I'm going to stick with what my twin brother said here, and I'm going to agree with him. I think it was an interesting choice, and I think that this is what movies, we're expected. We want to see everything. Now we can do everything digital. We can show everything. But I think what's lacking is allowing the audience to use their own imagination. I mean, this is something that even in a Star Wars film, when it was by design from the budget, when Tarkin comes in and they've wiped away the Senate, like, wait, there's a galactic Senate. There's an emperor. Like, what? And I love the idea that science fiction, now we can just show everything. I like the idea that they used to use that as a device, and I think that audiences we're just used to seeing it all, and I think it's, I don't know. I actually like that choice, but I feel like you have a good argument for, like, you want to, have that cathartic experience and see it.
Well,
unfold.
Here's what I would compare it to. Imagine you're watching Top Gun Maverick, and you're halfway through the film, and he had just had his big date with what's Paul Bettany's wife's name again?
Jennifer Connelly.
Yeah. Penny Benjamin.
So
Yeah.
he just had this big date day with Penny Benjamin, and everything's going fine, blah, blah, blah. And then they cut to a scene, you're starting the third act, they cut to a scene where they're in the briefing room, and John Hamm walks in and says, unfortunately, Captain Mitchell died in a crash this morning.
right.
Now let's move on to this. We would be like, what? What? And to me, that's kind of a comparison. But I don't know. You're right. It was unique. It was unique and it was different. All right. We really got to put the motors on. All right. What's next?
Nerd on Film says, hey, John and crew, if you haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend Cha-Cha Real Smooth. Dakota Johnson competes with Cameron Diaz in Mask.
Well, Dakota Johnson is great. I'm not even familiar with Cha-Cha Real Smooth.
It's a movie that sold out of Sundance.
Okay.
Written and directed by the star of the movie.
On
Cooper
Apple
Rafe.
TV.
Oh, I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yes, but I have not watched it
I haven't
yet.
seen it either. So.
All right. Thank you for putting that on
Looking
your
forward to it.
recommendation list, man. All right. What's next?
Logan Landis says, if you listen close to the video of Jamie Foxx and Cameron Diaz, you can hear Howard Stern talking about being the new face of the MCU and how pissed he is about
Okay,
it.
Logan, that's what we call a callback. Well done, Logan. Well done. That was
Pretty
very,
good.
very well done. All right, what's next?
David Crabtree says, of all the great shows out now, Orville tops my list. New episode out today. Also, it's great to see fellow Detroiter Chris Gore on the show. Film Threat has been killing it.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it. It's, my channel is, I don't do what you do, John. It's, we talk about mainstream movies, of course, that are in theaters, but we focus a lot on indie films as well. So, like Marcel the Shell with Shoes On that's a big movie for us at Film Threat. So, but yeah, no, come out and check out the channel, and hopefully you'll find something you like.
As far as the Orville, I am curious to watch. I haven't watched the newest episode yet.
I haven't either.
The Orville for me has been hit and miss. Brilliant first episode, the suicide episode. Really good fourth episode, the one that takes place on Krill. So I'll be interested to watch to see how it picks up here.
Yeah, I always watch it after Star Trek Strange New Worlds to make myself feel better.
All right. What's next?
Moon Seven Willows says, prediction, Eddie shredding his guitar in the Upside Down is going to be one of the most rewatched moments of Volume 2.
Probably now. Obviously, I think this is connected to the fact that music is what keeps people out of Vecna's trance.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling it's going to have something connected with that. But yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think it's probably going to be the one.
Is he going to do the
shots.
metal version of Running Up That Hill?
That would be pretty cool if it was. All right, what's next?
We'll make a deal with God. Jonathan Vagoa says, have you ever watched, that's Jabe. Okay. Have you ever watched Chip and Dale, John?
I did not. My wife watched it. She loved it. She told me
Good.
I have to watch it. You watch it too, Ray?
Yeah.
What do you think?
No, I liked it. It was very good. It was surprisingly good.
Yeah, so I gotta get on that soon. All right, what's next?
Drew Paxton says, I'm a day late, but do you think that we can see the return of the characters in Deadpool 3 like Colossus, Cable, Negasonic, and Russell now that the Fox universe no longer exists?
Absolutely. These are all on the table.
Yeah.
These are absolutely all on the table. We heard Russ Sweet and Paul Wernick say that it's going to be a bit of a fish out of water story because now Deadpool is going to be in the MCU.
Right.
And what you can do with that there is really good. But absolutely, these are all characters that now Disney owns. So there's no reason. I have no reason to believe that Josh Brolin won't be back. I have no reason to believe that Zazie Beetz won't be back. I mean, we haven't heard anything official. But, I mean, these are all, I think they're all definitely still on the table.
Agreed.
All right, what's next?
Chuck the Mystery says, with all the Flash delays, where do you stand on Batgirl going theatrical?
I said this before, I'll say it again. I still think Batgirl's going to go theatrical.
I do too.
I mean, if they're going to do it with Blue Beetle, I think they will do it with this. Maybe as a makeup for the audience for how much we're having to wait for the Flash. I don't know. We'll see. All right, what's next?
Elizabeth Gerardo says, if Steve dies, I want him to die saving his kids.
Absolutely. It's particularly Dustin. I mean, they might do it him saving Nancy, which I won't be as big on, but that's fine too. But again, I just think we'll find out in less than 24 hours. We'll know if he dies or not. I think he will. All right, what's next?
Oscar Hartman says, Morgesta? That's greetings from Finland. Do you guys pay attention to the rating sites like IMDb, Metacritic, or Rotten Tomatoes, and are they useful?
Any fan ratings are completely useless, except for Rotten Tomatoes verified, because Rotten Tomatoes realized after so much review bombing and people putting in reviews for movies that they've never seen, they realized, we got to put in a system in place where we have to be able to affirm that somebody actually saw a movie in order to let them register a vote. Therefore, for movies, not TV shows, unfortunately, but for movies, now when you see viewer ratings, at least you know those ratings are coming from people who actually saw the movie. Places like IMDb do not have that thing in place. Places like some others do not have that in place. Critic rating stuff, yes, I think there's a huge value in them. Obviously, I do. Metacritic, Rotten Tomatoes, stuff like that. But anything that is fan voted, other than Rotten Tomatoes movies, because they have that fail-safe in place that somebody has to have seen the movie, pay no attention to it. Great example of that on IMDb goes back to when I remember when The Dark Knight came out and people had these big organized movements online. Everybody, whether you saw it or not, go to IMDb, downvote The Godfather, and upvote. Remember this?
Yeah.
Go downvote The Godfather, which was their number one film. Go downvote it and upvote Dark Knight. Didn't matter if somebody saw the movie or not. Didn't matter anything about that. See, that's just a great example about why fan voted stuff is completely pointless.
I'm doing that right now.
Moonfall, suddenly the number one movie on IMDb. All right, what's next?
Connor Dorian says, hey, John, apparently Superman and Lois takes place in another universe.
Yep, I was very excited to hear it. I might even get back on the show now.
Data Dev says, any major connections to other MCU movies or shows?
We're obviously not going to answer that question. There's no way we can answer that question.
Tell us how it ends.
That's how it ends.
Kyle Fiedler says, Avengers Quantum Encounter, great mini movie.
I don't know what we're talking about.
Oh, someone was talking about it in the chat. I think it was like
Is that a new theme ride?
No, never mind. I'm not going to, because it was a while ago that person was talking about in the chat.
Is it like at Disneyland?
No, I think it's like a little, I don't want to say because
Okay.
I'll
Okay. Yeah. So sorry, we don't know what you're talking
Is it
about.
perfectly
unfortunately.
legal, right?
All right. What's next?
The Jughead one sends in a super chat.
Oh, thank you, Jughead One. And do we have any more
Yeah,
memberships?
I got last two here. We got one from Johnny 5619. So John, you've seen the new Thor. Do they explain how Thor's eyes are both blue when Rocket gave him a brown replacement eye? Also, that Smile trailer.
Oh, the Smile trailer was fire. I love that
great.
trailer.
Okay.
Pardon me.
The things people notice. I didn't
Again,
even
I'm not
notice.
going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything on that, unfortunately. All right, what's next?
Okay, last one is Zelda Master 702. He says, as someone who was in Noises Off in high school, played Reeves' character from the film, I'm so glad that you sing the movie's praises. Underappreciated for sure.
My all? Go ahead, finish.
Yeah, this Minnesota MN Prince fan loves everything y'all do. Minnesota, I guess.
That's
MN.
right.
Well, thank you, man. Okay, yeah. So for those of you who don't know, my number one all-time favorite comedy is The 40-Year-Old Virgin. But I would say that's 1A. 1B would be the Michael Caine, John Ritter, Christopher Reeve, Carol Burnett masterpiece, Noises Off. If you guys have not seen this comedy, I believe it holds up today. It's just one of the funniest things I've ever watched. I don't know if I've ever asked. Have you ever seen Noises
I
Off?
love it. Peter Bogdanovich. directed it.
Have you ever had a chance to-
I haven't seen it. No, I don't know why
It's
I missed that one.
one of my all-time favorite comedies. And guys, that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for being here, making the show part of your day. Big special thank you to all of you guys who sent those super chats. Number one, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported our channel as you did it. And all of us involved here at the John Campea Show, thank you guys so much for that support. I want to thank Robert Meyer Burnett. Robert, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Instagram at RM Burnett. Find me on Twitter at Burnett RM, or find me at postgeeksingularity.com.
We are so thrilled to be joined today by Chris Gore.
Yeah.
Chris, thank you so much for coming in here. Where can people find Film Threat and the other things you're doing online?
Just go to filmthreat.com. We're Film Threat on everything, and check out the Film Threat YouTube channel.
Where can people find you on Twitter?
Oh, personally, I'm that Chris Gore. I don't tweet all that much. Twitter
you
can
there.
be, you know,
I'm with you there.
fun. You know, it's not as fun as it used to be. But yeah, if you want to follow me personally there, but check out Film Threat.
Ray, where can people find you?
I will be supporting the documentary, that Kickstarter or whatever you have
Yes,
going on.
Attack of the Doc.
And also at Ray Aura with a 0.
And of course, running the show today, producer Jonathan Voico. Jonathan, where can people follow you?
You can find me at Sonic If You Want It on Twitter.
And of course, you guys can follow me on Instagram and on Twitter, simply at John Campea. That'll do it for us for today, guys. Don't forget to come back and join us again tomorrow. I'll give my thoughts on Stranger Things Season 4, Volume 2. Come back then. That'll do it for us for now. Thanks a lot for being here. My name's John Campea. And until next time, my friends, bye-bye.